kicking off in a minute or two. Thank you for joining in today. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining in today. I would like to confirm that you can hear me. So can someone just confirm that you can hear me? Anyone, please?
I can hear you.
Thank you, thank you. So please, I'd like us all, if you're not speaking, to kindly turn off your microphone, to just have a quick check to see if your microphone is turned on and switch it off, please. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Desire Uba, and it is nice to be here today. Today, we have our second day of the PSN-YPG Lagos organized webinar, The Path to a Successful Grad School Application. If you were a part of this event yesterday, I'm sure that you learned a couple of things, and today we're excited for the second day. We have a few facilitators, and kindly turn off your microphone, thank you. And they would be talking to us about the specifics of applying for grad school. They'll be talking both based on their experience and based on professional experience. And I'm sure we're all excited.
I never see where you go now.
Kindly turn off your microphone, please. So, to give us our opening address,
Can everyone hear me?
I can hear you, Emmanuel.
Oh, okay. Okay, let me see if I can turn on my video. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. I'm sorry that I couldn't join actively yesterday because of the Lagos traffic. I was stuck in traffic for a while. But I'm sure that a lot of us are excited for today. I actually had to go through the YouTube to check what I missed, and I could say that yesterday was explosive. And today, I'm sure that our facilitators from iScholars will be here to deal with all the uncertainties that we all have concerning applications for what they call applications to schools, grad schools, and all. So I would advise us that as we join in, please let's keep our mic muted. Let's enjoy the webinar and let's take notes, ask our questions. And I'm sure by the end of the webinar, everybody's questions, uncertainties, everything would have been cleared out. Thank you for having me. Desire, you can carry on.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Kindly give me a minute. Thank you all so much for joining in. If you're just joining in, today is day 2 of the PSN-YPG Lagos organized webinar, The Path to a Successful Grad School Application. And today we have iScholars hosting us with various facilitators. And we're going to be talking about everything that you would need, or well, most of the things that you would need if you want to apply to grad school. Today, we're talking about how to ace your grad school interviews, how to find and to email prospective supervisors, how to ace the GRE or the TOEFL, and also we will also be talking about the statement of purpose. I know it's something that many people tend to struggle with. They don't know whether what they're writing makes sense or not, or what they should include or not include. Today, thankfully, we would have a facilitator that will break that down for each and every one of us today. If you have any questions in advance, you can write them down somewhere so you do not forget, or you can put it in the chat box so that as time goes on, we would address your questions. We would also be talking about, we'll also be discussing how to write your academic CV and how to get reference letters from the right source. And also in that particular session, we would also talk about how to formulate them, so how to write those reference letters just in case you have a person who wants to refer you telling you to come along with a letter. So right now, I would like to invite our first facilitator. Okay, kindly give me a few seconds. I'd like to invite our first facilitator to. Thank you for joining in. I am right now in touch with our first facilitator, and I'm just trying to settle some things behind the scenes so that we can start with the first session. Kindly bear with us and give us a few seconds. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Please, are you using two devices? Yes, I think that's the issue.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, please. It's still, I think you're the two devices. Yes. Yes, you can go on now, please.
I think it's better this way, right?
Yes, it is. Thank you so much.
Oh, okay. Good day, everyone. I hope you can all hear me. Right?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Oh, okay, wait a second. Sorry, I didn't know I was supposed to go first, so I'm just gonna share my screen right away. Please, can you allow me to share my screen? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, I think they will do that now.
Yes, please. You've been made a co-host right now.
Okay, okay. Okay. We good? Can you all see my screen?
Not yet.
Yeah, hi Victor. Can you hear me? Hello everyone.
Yeah, I can hear
you. My name is Fahidat Gbadamosi. I'm very excited to be here today. I serve as the operations manager of ISI, and we're very excited to take this session with you on grad school applications. So we have designed it in such a way that it goes from the very first to the last. So it goes from what you begin with, which is selecting your program and emailing prospective supervisors, up to the last, which is like Acing grad school interviews. So actually our facilitator for emailing supervisors is actually on the call and he's actually been waiting to take his session. So Victor, I apologize. Could you let Dr. Akambi take
Yes,
the
please.
session and supervise me?
Yeah. I mean, that should good first. Yeah, you're right. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Dr.
Yeah.
Akambi. Our host, Dr. Akambi's name on the call is Femi, aka NB. If you could please make him a co-host.
Good morning, everyone. Am I good to go?
Yes, sir. Good to go. Good evening.
Oh, okay. Good morning, everyone, and good evening. I know it's evening over there. Again, my name is Olufemi Akambi. I reside here in Houston, Texas. I'm a member of ISI, and I happens to be the Vice President, Talent and Development and Mentoring. I'll go ahead and share my screen, just like Fahidat said. I think, just a minute, share screen. Please, could you make me a co-host so I can share my screen? I think you have to disable the participant screen sharing or something.
You've made a co-host, please.
Okay, thanks. Can we all see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, yeah, once again, thank you everyone for being here. Again, it's an honor for me to be here. Let me just give a brief introduction of myself. My name is Olufemi Akambi. I've been involved in the ISI in the last 3 years. And like I said, I doubled as the Vice President for Mentoring. And again, about a few years ago, I'm also like some of you guys, I finished my first degree in geophysics at Obafemi Awolowo University. And in 2001, I migrated as a student to US to study a master's degree in geology. And thereafter, I got a second master's degree in geophysics and a PhD in geophysics from the University of Houston. So, and over the years, I've been involved in mentoring and people and scholars to advise them on how to get admissions, mostly graduate admissions into US colleges and universities. So one thing that I wanted to do from the schedule for today, I noticed that we said, how do we email professors? And I kind of look at that question as, yeah, it's a very vital question, but what I've decided to do is, because I felt before you can email your professors on your and tell them about your interest in grad school, you have to first and foremost be able to narrow down your school, which means you have to be able to select the right schools you want to attend. Then thereafter, you begin to talk and email professor. So I want to target my presentation this morning towards how do you select the right school. As you all know, there are several thousands of schools across the North America and other parts of the world. So being able to narrow down your selection to a few schools, I think is one of the most important things. So quickly, I'm going to go through a couple of things. Again, when we talk about the right schools, especially for international students, for me, I think there are 3 or 4 things that are very, very important. One of the most important things you have to bear in mind and look at is the funding. Again, going to overseas or going abroad to study is not an easy thing, especially when you look at funding. It involves a lot of funding and financial constraint. So one thing you want to take a look at is how much fund do I have or is involved that do I have to come up with in order to be able to go through this process or being able to go to school. So the funding is one of the most important things. And also one other thing is you want to look at is the, what's it called? The program of study. In this case, I believe most of us on this call, we are pharmacists or we are going to be pharmacists in a few years. So you want to try as much as possible to narrow down your schools of choice to great schools that are they are well known for your program of studies. In this case, we are looking at the pharmacist or the pharmacology programs. Another thing you want to look at is your test scores. Again, as I said earlier on, funding is very, very important. And in order to be able to get admission and funding, you must have a very good test scores. And I believe some of the other participants, they're going to talk about that in a short while. So you want to make sure that you look at schools and also try and have an idea of what type of test scores that can get you admission into these schools. And finally, one other things you want to take a look at is where is the location of the schools. Again, there are thousands of schools, especially in North America, in the US, but you don't just want to apply to any school. You want to find out, because when you get into this program, you find out that the location of these schools also matters. It could be the weather, it could be the diversity of the city, of the town where this school is located. All this you should be factored into your choice of selecting the schools you want to apply to, which invariably will now follow up with getting in touch with the professor, getting in touch with the graduate advisors, getting in touch with some of the students who are already, or scholars who are already students in those schools. So these 4 things should be one of the things you need to dot and cross before you begin to make your choice or selection as to which schools you want to go or you want to apply to, or you want to get in touch with the professor or the faculties in those schools. Now, when we talk of funding, there are various types of fundings. There's teaching assistantship, there's research assistantship, there are fellowship and scholarships and grants. These are some of the fundings that you can tap into or you can exploit. But again, most of these fundings would invariably ties into your test scores, your SOP, your letter of recommendations, and invariably you're being admitted into that program. And I believe some of our, like I said, our other facilitators, they're going to tell you more about all these other requirements. But these are the type of fundings that you can explore or you can target at these various programs. Like I said, the quality of the program is also very important. The availability of the program of your interest, availability of professor or faculty to work or collaborate with you. One of the things I've always told, especially international students, is the fact that the most important thing, one of the most important things you need to do is you need to create a connection, a networking with professors or faculties in your program of study. Because without that, it's difficult for these faculties to give you funding or to make funding available for you. So being open or reaching out proactively to this professor to ask about their research of studies and making sure that they have the funding or they are willing to provide funding for your program is very, very important, because the moment you get past that point and you find a professor or a faculty who is willing to partner with you, who is willing to provide funding for you, that is a huge one, because with that done, the other thing is getting admitted, and provided you get the funding, it also helps you further on with applying for visas at the embassy. And I think some of our scholars on this program or facilitator, they're going to tell you more about that, because some of them, they got full funding, and that makes their visa application very, very easy. You find out that there are so many applicants that get admission, but without funding, or some uncle or parents is going to fund them. But sometimes when you go to the embassy with that kind of concept, usually they are mostly denied, because again, having a funding from a university or from a professor is the best way to go about this. Again, I'm not going to touch more on this because I believe one of our facilitators is going to mention about it. GRE score, GMAT score, TOEFL score, depending on what type of test you are required to take, these are very, very important. And again, you have to do very well. I keep saying this, with the COVID situation, we find out that some programs or some university, they are waiving the GRE. But personally, I would still advise you to take this exam and do very well. Because when you start talking about funding, these are some of the criteria that the professor or the graduate committee, they look for before they give you funding or before they give you admission. So doing very well on this exam is very, very important. Then also, when you are trying to select your program, try to look for a program where there is diversity. What I mean by that is there is professors from every part of the world. There are women, there are men, there are people from every part of the globe in that department. Because when you have that type of diversity, they are very, very attractive to students, especially as an international student. And like I said again, the town or the city of location is very, very important. I'm not going to talk more about this because I think we are not yet there. Then one of the things that I want to quickly mention about is the whole situation of applying to graduate school, especially in North America and in the US. It doesn't boil down to just taking the exam and doing very well. You have to be proactive. You have to really want to do this. Because when you look at the process, it goes beyond just taking the exams. It also involves you being proactive, knowing what you want, and going beyond just taking the exam and reaching out to the professor, networking with other students who are already in this program, and doing your own part. Be persistent, be consistent. Because to be honest with you, it's not going to be a smooth journey. There will be roadblocks. There will be days you don't feel like. There will be days you get rejection letter from professor or somebody telling you, oh, I don't have funding. Don't let that weigh you down. Move on, move on. Reach out to other programs, reach out to other professors, be consistent, ask questions, network. And one other thing that I think one of the other facilitators they're going to share with you is don't procrastinate. Because this journey is such a way that if you start taking it in such a way that, oh, I'm going to do this next week or next month, you find out that you may end up not doing it. And time is of essence. Remember, you are not only competing with people from your program, from Unilag, you are competing with people from all over the world. And some of these applicants, they are getting the application in time, they are beating the deadline, they are networking, they are reaching out to professors. So again, if you want it, go for it. Don't procrastinate, be proactive. Do all these things that I've mentioned, and also some of the things the other facilitators are going to talk about. But again, ask questions, reach out to people. People have gone through this process. And one last thing that I want to talk about, especially because I believe many of the people on this call, they are pharmacists or pharmacists to be, is when you are trying to apply to grad school, especially in North America and US, it's a little bit different when we talk about pharmacists. I will be honest with you, it's going to be very difficult to apply to a graduate program as a pharmacist in America. And that is why I wanted to chip in this for you guys. If you are looking at it, applying to US schools, target programs like biotechnology, biological sciences, and all those biomedical sciences. And again, one of the things that we advise you guys to do is go for the PhD programs, apply to the PhD program. The reason why I'm saying this is most of these programs, they don't even accept master's degree. And the reason why they are doing that is because of funding. And again, when you apply into the PhD program, it puts you in a position whereby you have opportunity of getting funding. And the moment you get this funding, like, as I said earlier on, it takes a lot of stress from you, especially when it comes to going for your visa interview. Because the moment you have a funding that takes care of your program and also gives you stipends, there is actually no way you get to the embassy and you're not going to get the visa. But what I found out in the past is that sometimes, especially in the medical line and the pharmaceutical program, people want to apply to graduate program in pharmacies, in medicine, but it's not going to work out that way. And that's why sometimes I used to tell people that in your case, it's like a two-step program. I've had friends who finished medical schools in Nigeria, but they have to come here into a graduate program in something like biotechnology, something like biological sciences. And during the course of when they were doing this program, maybe a PhD program or sometimes an MSc program, they begin to study and take the MCAT. And the MCAT is the medical program examination that you have to take in North America. And when they pass this exam, it gives them the opportunity of just going to the residency here in America. But the point I'm trying to prove here is there is no way you can come with a medical degree in Nigeria and you want to go into medical line, or you want to have a pharmacist degree in Nigeria and you want to come into America and practice as a pharmacist. You have to do like a two-step program, whereby first and foremost, you get into a graduate program, like in the biomedical, biotechnology, And during that course of the program, you can be doing other things on the side in the pharmaceutical line, taking the pharmacy exam, the board exam, and getting yourself. But again, there will be a lot of opportunities that is open onto you. So again, I've just decided to chip in that. I know some of you will have questions. Maybe with your question, I will be able to delve more into that. I don't want to take much of your time. But again, once again, it's an opportunity. I'm honored to be here, and thank you for giving me this time to speak with you guys.
Thank you so much, Dr. Akombi, for your time and for sharing your knowledge with you. Please, we'll have our question and answer session after all our facilitators have spoken. So, sir, we do hope you will be here to the end of.
I do hope so. I have an engagement to go, but don't worry. If I have to leave, I will let you know. Yeah, let the other goes. I hope I'll still be here.
Thank you so much for the knowledge you passed on to us today, sir. And we have our next facilitator who is going to talk to us about how you can ace the GRE and TOEFL. He is Afeez Badmus. Afeez is a 2020 I scholar. He's a first class graduate of the Federal University of Technology, Akure. He's a 2020 I scholar, and in 2021, he received 4 fully funded offers in civil engineering from various universities in the US, Asia, and Europe. He enjoys teaching and learning new things. Afeez, we're excited to have your session today. Thank you. I believe you're already a co-host, so you can share your screen.
Yeah, thank you for the wonderful introduction.
Thank you, Afeez.
So I'll share my screen now. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So I'll be taking you through acing the GRE and the TOEFL. So without wasting much of our time. So we're going through what is the GRE, sections of the GRE, acing the quant section, acing the verbal section, acing the analytical writing assessment section. Then I'll give some study guides, final notes on the GRE, and then so we'll go to the TOEFL section. What is TOEFL? Sections of the TOEFL. Okay, I believe you can all hear me clearly.
Yes, we can.
Oh, great. So the GRE thing is a graduate record examination. So it consists of the verbal reasoning, quantitative reasoning, and the analytical writing assessment. So this exam tests your verbal, quantitative, critical, and analytical writing skills. And it is organized by Educational Testing Service, for short ETS. So the sections on the GRE. So the GRE is divided into 3 sections, like I mentioned earlier. The analytical writing assessment section, known as AWA, so the quant and the verbal. So now this is a breakdown of the test. So your analytical writing is divided into 2. So you have the issue essay and the argument essay. So and you'll be allowed to spend 30 minutes on each of the essays. So in total, you have 1 hour to write your essay. And this analytical writing is the first section on the GRE. Now, for the quantitative, we have 2 sections, 35 minutes each. Now, for the verbal also, we have 2 sections, 30 minutes each. So there is a section called experimental section. This section is not going to be graded, but it's going to be part of your test, and you cannot identify this section during the test. So it can either be verbal or quantitative. So in total, you have around 4 hours to take the test. So now, acing the quant section. So the quant section is basically how to apply basic mathematics in solving real and abstract numerical problems. So this section is going to test your concepts under arithmetic, algebra, and data analysis. So now on the quant section, like I said, there are 20 questions, but in these 20 questions, we have different question types. So there is what is called quantitative comparison. So this kind of question, you would have, you'll be given two quantities, quantity A and quantity B. And the question will be, okay, determine which quantity is greater, or the quantity can be equal, or the quantity cannot be determined. So you're going to have four options. You have A, B, C, and D. So if quantity A is greater than quantity B, you're going to pick option A. If quantity B is greater than quantity A, you're going to pick option B. And if both quantities are equal, so you pick option C. But if you cannot determine whether quantity A is greater than B or whether quantity B is greater than A, then you go with option D. So for the multiple choice question, this is a normal multiple choice question. You're going to have a question and you're going to have 5 options. So now the options will be labeled in a circular, like, or oval shape. So when you see an oval shape, so that means you should know that this kind of question is a multiple question. It's a multiple choice question, because there's another type of question again, which is called the multiple answer question. Here you can pick more than one answer, but for the multiple choice question, you can only pick just one answer. So that's the difference. So in the multiple answer question, the options are going to be labeled with the box. So that's what differentiates the two. And you can pick more than one answer under these questions. And the last one is the numeric entry. So you're going to be the one to enter your answer. You're going to enter the digits. Probably to ask you to calculate something, and you're going to enter the value on your keyboard. So now I will give some brief tips on how to ace quant section. So the first thing I'd like to tell you that the quant section is not hard as people think. It's just testing your basic knowledge on maths. These are just secondary school maths, but with a little different technique. So the first rule is never spend more than 2 minutes in a single question. So I said you're going to have 20 questions in a section that's under quantitative. So you're going to have 20 questions and you have 85 minutes. So you have around 90 seconds per question, right? But there's some questions that you can spend let's say 30 to 45 seconds to attempt them. So you're going to have more time to solve more difficult questions as the section progresses. So when you are solving and you're already spending, let's say, 90 seconds, more than 90 seconds, or around 120 seconds, please just skip to the next question. Now be calm. This is very, very important. Now, while solving, you'll be under pressure. Yeah, I say that you'll be under very, very high pressure. But you have to be very, very calm. You have to be very, very composed. So if you have solved the question probably and you feel your answer or you are not sure of what, just move on. You don't have to think about that question again. Just move on and solve the next question. Now, there's always a trap answer in almost every question on theory. So you have to be careful and don't fall for their trap. So read questions carefully. Don't speed read questions at all. Just read the questions carefully and make sure you understand what you are asked to calculate. So now, like I said, okay, you can time wasting questions. You have questions like word problem, questions like data analysis. You can skip these questions first because all questions carry equal mark. So you probably have more simpler questions at the front. You get, so skip time wasting questions as you progress. Now, the use of on-screen calculator, please, while doing your practice, learn to calculate mentally, learn to solve without using calculator, because this on-screen calculator is going to waste a lot of your time. Because while trying to type one by one, the time is very important on this test, and you wouldn't want to waste your time going to the calculator all the time. So you have to practice to solve mentally. So now, these are some guides that you can use for the quant section. So you have the ETS official guide. So like I said, ETS is the one that organizes the test. So you can go through this guide, learn more about the questions to expect and how to tackle these questions. So there is another resource, Magri's video. So they have explained these concepts and these techniques in a clearer way. So I highly recommend these videos. So we have Magrish, we have Markham books also. So now these Markham books, I would say that if you have a good background in maths, then you don't need to go through all the Markham books. We have Markham books 1 to 6. They are the books. They are sections. I think arithmetic, algebra, like that. All the sections have their own text separately. But if you have a very good background in math, you don't need to go through all these books. You can just use the Markham 5LB, which has over 1,800 questions, both on verbal and quant. So you can just practice the questions from here. After watching these language videos, yeah, you don't have to go through a whole lot of study materials. But if you feel your foundation in math is not that strong, then you can still go through this math and books 1 to 6. So now there's another resource from Scholarding. Okay, Scholarding is actually a premium resource, that is, you have to pay to get access to it. But I can tell you it's a very, 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 very resource, especially for quant. So I won't say the questions are close to what it is actually said, but I'll say it's almost on par. So it's a very, very good resource. Their explanations are also awesome. Now, then the last one, KMF1. So KMF is actually a Chinese material, and they also have a very, very, very similar question with that of the ETS. So I think you can visit the site, or put it in the chat box, gre.kmf.com. So you see a whole lot of questions to practice with. Another benefit of this KMF is that from the site, I think you can take some practice tests for free. You can also take some timed tests. So for the verbal, that's the second part. So this section measures your ability to comprehend and follow logic of sentences and paragraphs written in academic style. So the verbal also has 3 different question types. We have the text completion, we have the sentence equivalence, and we have the reading comprehension. So now for the verbal, the study guides, I would advise the ETS official guide. That's always my #1 material. So Magui videos also. Then Grad Math videos. Grad Math is on YouTube. So if you don't, or if you are not familiar with it, just type Grad Math GRE on Google, and I believe you'll be directed to his page on YouTube. So his video explanations, especially for TC and SC, are very, very fantastic. Now, I indicated here that Kaplan for RC. I'm not saying Kaplan is not good for other sections of the GRE, but I just feel this is where their strength is. Let me put it like that. So for the RC, their explanations are very, very nice. So they've broken different RC question types, because we also have RC question types. So they've broken how to identify question types and how to tackle these questions. Then lastly, KMF again, KMF verbal. So I think there are over 1,000 KMF questions. So I would advise you practice these questions. They are just questions. I think they are explanations, but they are not directly from KMF. People have tried to come up with the explanations to the solutions. But this question, like I call it a question bank. It's very, very, because it's on par with ETS questions. Like say almost on par, almost. So now study tips for the TC and SC. The first thing is to build your vocabulary. Now there are different resources to learn vocabulary. We have Magbush, we have Markan, we have Barons. So you can just stick with Magbush and Barons, yeah, because there are some words that are similar. So as you are learning from Magbush, I think Magbush has over around 1,000 words, yeah, and you can download this on a flashcard, in form of a flashcard. You can download it on Google Play Store. Magbush, flashcard, Markan, Barons. You can download this from Google Play Store. So this vocab with this with knowledge in these words, so you'll be able to tackle TC and SC questions better. So now for the text completion, we have a single blank, we have double blank, and we have triple blank. So a single blank means that you have to fill just one blank, and a double blank means that you have to fill two blanks in a prompt, and triple blanks means that you have to fill three blanks in a prompt. And to get the that particular question, you have to get all the blanks correctly. What I'm trying to say is that, for example, in a three blanks question, if you get two blanks and probably miss the third blank, then that means you don't have any points for that question. So before you can get a point for that kind of question, you have to get all the blanks correctly. So while you are reading, it's good to read the whole prompt first and understand what the prompt is actually trying to say before even going to the options. I'll advise you, don't look at your options while doing your TC, especially. You don't have to look at the options first. Just read the prompt, try to understand, trying to find clues, and guess a word for the missing blank. So with this your guess word, you can now go to the options and find the option that is related to your guess word. So now you can check again with your guess with the option you have selected now, and put it in the blank and read again and try to feel, does this actually make sense? So now for the RC, we have long passages and we have short passages. So I would advise that you skim through the passage. That's like what I would advise. Just skim through, because some passages can be very, very, very long. So skim through the passages, but if you have a short passage, you can actually read through. So, but for long passages, you can skim through and try to get a glimpse of what they are saying. What you need to know is the purpose of the passage. So let me say that's like the main idea. So once you can determine the purpose of this passage, what is the passage trying to say, get the structure of the passage, then it will be very, very easy for you to tackle the questions. So after you feel you understand what this passage is saying, and you can now start attempting your questions. Now, I won't say this is what you should do under all situations, because there might be maybe during the test, there might be some conditions that you are running out of time already and you can't start going through the passage. Yeah, so you have to go through the questions first and then try to start finding where your answer is, but that might even take much time. So it's still better to go through the passage and then going through the questions. So, but while practicing, you can determine what works best for you. Do you feel comfortable going through the questions first, or you feel comfortable going through the passage first? So it's not a rule of thumb. You have to go with what works best for you. Then be very, very careful. Like I said, ETS, I won't say they are very, very funny. So you might see you might pick a wrong answer and you feel, oh, this answer is, it's very, very similar to the correct answer, but maybe just a word that you didn't see. you get. So be very, very careful while answering questions. Now, for the analytical writing assessment, now, okay, the ETS guide, then Princeton is another resource. So they have any resource I'm mentioning here, they all take care of the whole sections of the GRE, but I will just be recommending where, let me say, where this one is good and where that one is very good. So now Princeton, I feel it's very, very, very good when it comes to the analytical writing section. So you can use this book. I think the name is Cracking the GRE. So for the analytical writing section, we have, like I said, we have issue essay and analytical writing. So for the issue essay, you'll be given a prompt and they'll tell you to write based on what's given. So for the issue essay, I would say you need knowledge from, it can be sports, politics. You just need a very, very, very wide knowledge because the question can come from anywhere. So you'll be asked to either support something or give your opinion about something. So you can either support or go against what they are saying, and you give examples, you give your reasons while you are either supporting or going against what they are. So if you go through this book, I'm very, very sure you see a breakdown of how to tackle this essay. Now, lastly, Greg Math. Yeah, Greg Math again. So he has some videos, and I think he has a template for your issue essay and your argument essay writing. So you can adopt this template if you feel comfortable with it, and you can also create a template yourself. Now, what I mean by a template is that you practice with this template before your exam. So on the real test day, if you have a question, so you can write down your template and fix your answers you get depending on the question prompt you get. So now on the final note, now take a diagnostic test. What I mean by taking a diagnostic test is that before you even start, before you even let's say start your preparation at all, you can take a diagnostic test either from Kaplan, from Magoosh, Markan, any of these resources. They have free practice tests, so you can take a diagnostic test, and this test is going to let you know where you have strengths and where you have weakness. So with this, you can build up a study plan. And you know that, oh, I need to focus more on this part, or I need to focus more on this part. I need to build my vocabulary. So this that's the reason why this test is just very important, just for you to know where you stand. So now, like I said, this test is going to help you to create a good study plan. So if you know that, oh, I'm very weak in verbal, then you know that you have to have a plan on how we are going to tackle each section of the verbal. You know you are kind of good in maths, but because you are good does not mean you need to solidify your strengths to create a very good study plan. Now, concept is key. Now, don't just jump into start solving questions. First, like I said, all those videos I mentioned, they are conceptual videos. So watch those videos, know the techniques, know the right techniques to use for almost every question you get. Now, there are some questions that you are kind of familiar with. And let me say you are used to a particular way of solving that question, but that is not how ETS wants you to solve it. You get, because they don't need your workings. So if you use one full step to solve a question, nobody needs that. And whereas that question you use one full step to solve, you can solve it in maybe 3-4 lines with another concept. So that's why concept is very, very important. Now, time management is very important. Like I think I said, you have average of 90 to 150 seconds per question. But I will advise you that in the real test day, for example, on your quant section, you have 35 minutes. You can, plan and complete all your 20 questions within 25 minutes. So you can still have time to go through, and check and reevaluate your answers again. it's very, very important. So practice how to practice under time condition. Like while you're doing your practice, always work with time. Don't just practice anyhow. So this will also help you. Now, have an error log. What I mean by error log is that probably during your practice, you made a mistake. For example, where you're supposed to put a plus sign, you put a minus sign. There are some basic rules, when you start doing your practice. So while doing this practice, always keep those errors, like log them down, so you won't make those mistakes again. Sure you get. That's why this error log is important. Once you put down, oh, I made mistake here, I made mistake here. So next time you won't make that kind of error again. Now, join study groups. I cannot emphasize the importance of these study groups. Are very, very important. It can be WhatsApp, Facebook, Telegram, GRE Prep Club. So these study groups would, let me say, put you in the GRE mood. That's what it means. Because every day they will be studying questions. Every day they will be studying questions. And you are going to learn from different people. While I was preparing for my GRE, I joined some Indian groups. I don't even know those guys, but I really, really learned because from them. Because you learn different techniques of solving different questions. Everybody will always have his or her own unique way of solving questions. So it's very, very important, and it will keep you in that GRE mood. Now, take a lot of time practice test. I think at the end of this section, I'm going to share a link to some sites you can get some free practice tests. So practice test is important because you're able to gauge what you have done so far, like your practice so far. You are going to gauge yourself. Oh, it can be maybe bi-weekly, it can be monthly, depending on how long you want to prepare for the GRE. So practice test is very important, and make sure it is timed. Don't do untimed test. Now, avoid the use of too many study materials. Like I said the other time, I just highlighted some materials. There are so many GRE materials, so many. So reading too many materials might, get you confused at times, and you kind of like lose focus. So just stick to 3-4 materials. Now, because of time, so let's quickly go through what the TOEFL is. So TOEFL simply means Test of English as a Foreign Language, and it is also organized by TTS. So you may be wondering that why do I need to take an English language test? I had my secondary school in English, my undergraduate was taught in English, but I think we should know that Nigeria is not an English language native country. Our official language is just English, but that is not our native language. So if you are going to a country where English language is their native language, the way they speak, the way they teach, the way they address things is kind of different from our own. So this test is just kind of like a simulation of how it's going to feel over there. They're going to Europe, they're going to North America, Canada. So how they speak, so we have to kind of like, this test is just a simulation of something like that. So now the breakdown of the test. So we have reading, we have listening, we have speaking, and we have writing. So for the reading, we are going to have around 30 to 40 questions. It depends. And I think it's going to be that 30 to 40 questions. Each section is 10 questions. So for each section, you have around 18 minutes, I think. Yeah, 18 minutes. So if you're having 30 questions, you have 54 minutes. If you're having 40 questions, you have 72 minutes. So the reading here is kind of much more easier compared to that of the GRE. The reading comprehension is much more easier. Now for the listening section, you would have around 40 to 57 minutes for the listening section, and you have around 28 to 39 questions. So depending on what you get on your reading will determine how many questions you're also going to get on your listening. So if you have around 30 reading questions, then know that you have more listening to do. And if you have like around 40 questions on the reading, then your listening section will be less. So it's like that. So now the listening section, you either listen to a conversation between students, or you have to listen to lectures, or it can be, you have to listen to lectures and conversations. Those are the two things they test. So you have a break of 10 minutes in between. So 10-minute break, and use it to rest or probably take snacks, water, just calm yourself. Now, before you come back again and you start the second section, the next space, that's the speaking section. So this speaking section, there are 4 tasks, and I think I will explain at the front. Then we have writing section also. So this writing, you have 2 tasks. One is independent, the other one is integrated. So now for the reading section, like I said, it is much more easier compared to the GRE. So now you can do a first read through the passages. They are usually long, but you would probably get the idea of the passage compared to that of the GRE. Now questions come in order of the paragraphs, so which makes it much more easier. Paragraph 1, your first question will be from paragraph 1, something like that. Your next question can also be from paragraph 1. So as you are going, then the paragraphs, they will bring in questions from the paragraphs, paragraph 1, paragraph 2. So it's very, very easy. Unlike the GRE, the first question can come from the last paragraph, can come from the middle. So now we read these paragraphs to ensure that just to confirm that you actually pick the right answer. So now I will recommend ETS official guide for the TOEFL. So for this section, the ETS official guide is okay. You don't have to use so many materials. Just go through the ETS official guide for TOEFL, different from the GRE. So now for the listening section, so like I said, in this section, you have to listen to conversations and lectures, and you have to take notes. You have to take notes while listening to this conversation. So because these notes would help you while you want to answer your questions. So to practice for this session, you can listen to podcasts, programs, you can even while watching movies, you can try to watch movies without subtitles. American movies, try to watch them without subtitles. This will also help you. Now, on this section, you should note that you cannot skip a question. Yeah. So you can't skip a question. You must answer them accordingly. And once you answer a question, you can't go back to that question again. You cannot go back. So once you answer, that's all. Once you move from that question, that's all. You can't go back. So I recommend ETS official guide again. Now for the speaking section, like I said, there are 4 tasks. So now the task 1 is an independent task. What I mean by independent is that they are going to give you a prompt, and you are going to give your answer, based on your own opinion. Okay, based on what you feel. And for this section, you have just 15 seconds to prepare. So you can see this section needs a whole lot of practice. 15 seconds to prepare your response. At that point, then you have 45 seconds to respond. You have to speak into the microphone. 45 seconds. So task 2 is called integrated task. So this task is that you do some reading and listening. So you're going to read a prompt. They give you a prompt. You're going to read it. So you have like 50 seconds to read, and you have about you also listen to the students' conversation. So it's always a students' conversation between students. So you talk about activities on campus, something like that. So in this section, you have about 30 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to deliver this speech. So the task 3 is also an integrated task. That is, you have to do 2 things: reading, listening, and it has to be from what you have read and listened to. That's how you're going to give your response. So you have about 45 seconds to read, and you have 30 seconds to prepare and 60 seconds to respond. So the last task is only listening. You just have to listen to a lecture. So yeah, you have to take notes, because when you are giving your response back to be from what the notes you have taken down. So you have about 120 seconds to listen, you have about 20 seconds to prepare, and about 60 seconds to deliver what your answer is. Now, I will recommend ETS official guide. Now, TOEFL resources, yeah, you can find these on Google. And Noteful videos, you can find Noteful on YouTube. So for the writing aspect, there are basically two writing tasks. So the first one is integrated writing task. So now this session, you're going to read a short passage, and you're going to listen to a short lecture, and then you prepare your response based on what you have listened and what you read. So now the other section is independent writing task. So now this independence, you know that independence means you're going to deliver your writing based on your own perspective. So now you're going to write in an essay based on personal experience or opinion. So they'll give you a prompt, and your response is going to be from your own experience, from your own perspective. So I will recommend ETS official guide. There's a book called Nova Book for TOEFL. Yeah, I also recommend that, and I will recommend useful videos. So thank you all for listening.
Thank you very much, Afeez, for this session. And thank you to everyone. If you are just joining us, you're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome. We've just had our second facilitator from ISI Scholar, and that's Afeez Badmus. Just in case you do not know what iScholar Initiative is about, the iScholar Initiative is a charitable organization that was launched in 2019 and registered in 2020 in the US. It seeks to empower and mentor young African students to fulfill their dreams to pursue graduate studies via access to fully funded scholarships in world-class foreign universities by leveraging the network of partnering members. Through her scholarship award since inception, the initiative has supported more than 100 students. The initiative has supported more than 100 students by providing payment of required graduate school standardized test fees, end-to-end mentoring, and networking opportunities with professionals in various fields. In 2021, the iScholar Initiative will also be supporting her scholars with the payment of a predetermined number of graduate school application fees. iScholars have received various fully funded graduate school offers in countries, including Europe, USA, and Asia. iScholar Initiative continues to seek ways to broaden the opportunities for more scholars. And we're very grateful today at PSN-YPG Lagos for iScholar Initiative for taking out their time to teach us and to expand our knowledge regarding the path to a successful grad school application. So far, we have had our first two facilitators, Dr. Olufemi Akombi, who spoke on how to email prospective supervisors. You can still drop any questions you may have in the chat box. And we had our second speaker, Afeez Badmus, who just finished talking to us about how to ace the GRE and or TOEFL. If you still have any questions, kindly drop them in the chat box too. Right now, we have our third facilitator from iScholar Initiative, and he's Haniel Nkadi. Haniel Nkadi studied microbiology at Obafemi Awolowo University. He's a 2020 iScholar and now a graduate student at Louisiana State University Health Sciences Center. He's passionate about cancer research and loves to help everyone interested in academia. And obviously, he's here to help us today. So Haniel, thank you very much. You are welcome, and we'd love to have you now.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. Please, can you hear me very well?
Yes, please, we can.
Okay, fine. So good evening, and thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to you guys. Then I want to also say thank you to iScholar Initiative for everything, and to Dr. Femi Akombi for being a good mentor to me. So I'll just go on because of time. But before I take us on the statement of purpose part, I would like to recommend a book to us. I will be sharing my screen now. So yeah, so this is a book by the iScholar Initiative, is the iScholar Guide. So most of the things that we're going to be talking about today, most of them are also contained in this book. So if you need to check about stuff, maybe every part of the application, you can just see it in this book. Yeah, so this is going to contain everything you are looking for. Selecting the right schools, emailing prospective supervisors, acing the GRE, acing the TOEFL, and blah, blah, blah. I'm going to be dropping the link on the chat box. I'll be dropping the link on the chat box now. So you will just see the link. And so you can download the book from there, and just in case you need to refer back to stuff, or you can also see this session on YouTube on your channel or something like that. So I'll be going straight to the presentation now. I'm going straight to the presentation, and can you see my screen? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, fine. So about the statement of purpose. First thing I would say about the statement of purpose is statement of purpose is it's a part of your application whereby you have rights over it. You have how do I put it? It's modifiable by you. I know most of you have your GPAs already. Some of you already have your GRE scores, your TOEFL scores, but then some parts of your application cannot be changed at this point, especially your GPA, your undergraduate coursework and stuff like that. But your statement of purpose is one opportunity you have to add points to yourself. So I would say you should not take it as just a little part of your application. Try and take it as a very major part of your application, because you have all the power over it. So I'll be taking us on that today. And I'm going to first start by saying what is a statement of purpose. And basically, a statement of purpose is just, I'm supposed to hide this. Yes. Yeah, so a statement of purpose is just an essay stating your purpose for applying to a particular program. So it's a statement that is stating your purpose. It's just that simple. So also it tells the admission committee three things. It tells the admission committee who you are, what your interests are, and what you would contribute to the program. So come in, I'm very sorry, I need to hide this stuff. It's kind of distracting me. Okay. Yeah. So what's the typical length for a good statement of purpose? So we're going to be talking about word count. So a particular graduate program, once they require a statement of purpose from you, they want you to tell them three things. I'm going to just go back at that one. They want to tell them who you are. They want you to tell them about your aspiration, your research interests. They want you to tell them about what you can contribute to the program. So imagine I want to study cosmetics, cosmetics chemistry or something like that. So I'm going to tell them, oh, I have a background in chemistry. I want to study cosmetology, and I have the skills, I have this research interest, blah, blah, blah. This is what I can contribute to the program in terms of research, in terms of being a TA, in terms of being a GA, in terms of skills. Maybe I have programming skills and stuff like that. So that's what the statement of purpose is just trying to say. You're just trying to make sure you present yourself in form of writing. It's just like saying, this is me in a written copy. That's what a statement of purpose is. So, but something with the statement of purpose that it usually has word count. Some schools will tell you that there's no need for word count. There's no need for just say something or just write something. But usually, even if a school does not give me a particular word count, I stick to 500 to 1,000 words. So they may tell you it's a personal statement. If it's a personal statement, you can just stick to 500, 750 words. But if it's a statement of purpose, you can just stick to 1,000 words. Some schools may demand 1,500 words. Some schools want you to write 2,000 words, but it depends on the school and it depends on the program. So you just have to be sure, because graduate schools of a particular university may require you to write 500 words, but the program itself may require that you write 1,000 words. So you have to be sure of what they're looking for. That is by word count. Then you also have by page count, and page count is 1 to 2 pages usually. So, but I usually stick to 2 pages, except the school says 1 page maximum. So I stick to 2 pages. So you should try and limit your SOP by word count or by page count, and try not to use very little fonts, so that you can increase the number of words you can write on a page. Try and use a minimum of, I think, 11.5. I use 12, but you can use a minimum of 11.5. Yeah, so I use 12. Then try use good spacing and all. So yeah, most programs will specify what they want on their websites. So then yeah, font size 11 to 12. I use 12 actually with good spacing. I use 12. So then how do you write a good statement of purpose? Now you are to put your ideas, put your person in words. That is what a statement of purpose is. It's just like saying, I want to apply for a job. That is one thing you should see about graduate school. Applying to graduate school is like applying for a job. So it's like you're tailoring, this is my resume, and this is my, they call it something, this is my cover letter. So the cover letter for a job is the SOP for graduate school. So you're applying for a job. So you have to make sure you tailor your ideas to fit what the job wants, what the school wants. So if I am interested in plastics, I can't be applying to a particular graduate program that is maybe interested in paint, you understand? So it's what the job is looking for, you should apply for, something like that. So you have to directly address the selection committee. These are the people that would determine if you would get into the program or not. So you have to directly address them. So now you can ask yourself these questions to help you. And so you can ask the question, okay, why do I want to be in this graduate program? I want to be in this graduate program because I intend to go into academia or in the industry when I'm done with this graduate program. This graduate program would help me with the necessary skills that I can use to make sure I do this, I do that, I contribute to this, I help HIV patients, I help cancer patients, blah, blah, blah. So that is why I want to be in this graduate program. That's is your thing. That's your business. That depends on you. So number 2, why do I want this school? Oh, I want this school because this school has an electron microscope. I've never seen an electron microscope in my life. And this is the only school within this state that has an electron microscope. Oh, I like this school because the courses have a particular blend. This school offers financial mathematics, and this is the only school I can find financial mathematics within the whole thing. Oh, I want this school because this school is talking about drug targets, and the professors in this school are talking about drug targets. Oh, I like this school because this school is merging public health with pharmacology and stuff. And this is what I want. I want a blend of public health and pharmacology. That is why I want this school. That is why you want that school. So you have to think about that before writing your SOP. Then how will this program help me achieve my short and long-term goal? Okay, I am a pharmacist. I want to be a consultant. I want to do this, I want to do that. I want to establish policies on drug trials, clinical trials, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to apply to this school because I know that a graduate program in this school would help me understand more on policy making in health facilities, on disease clusters, on drug targets and blah, blah, blah. I want this school because this program has professors working on these programs have professors working on public health with a blend of maybe drug targets and clinical blah blah. You understand? So you should know why you want that program and how it should help you achieve blah blah. So number 3, how and what can I add to this program? So nobody wants to give you a fully funded offer without you adding anything to them. You can't get paid for doing nothing. You understand? So within your SOP, inherently, you should be something like saying, this is what I can contribute to this program. That is why some programs would also ask you for diversity statements, which would ask you how you think you can contribute to diversity within the program and what skills you are to contribute. Also, some schools would ask you to apply separately for teaching assistantship, for research assistantship. What do you think you can contribute? Oh, I have programming skills, I have writing skills, I have language skills, I have I don't know what stuff people do in pharmacy, but then you have those skills. You can, if you can contribute that, fine. So you should have a way of it. You must not show it like it must not be one full paragraph, but then you can just chip it in somewhere that, oh, this is who I am, and I have this to contribute. Even though you are not contributing skills or stuff, you can contribute ideas and stuff like that. Your research interest self may be a contribution. You understand? I have this thoughts of clinical trials in African populations, in African population on cervical cancer or on HIV, blah, blah, blah. You understand? So your research interest may be a wonderful contribution to the program, depending on what the professors are working on inside. So what do I love most about this program? I think I've covered that. So that now, how do you write a good statement of purpose? So you develop an outline. I usually tell people to write in odd paragraphs, in 3s or 5s. So depending on the word count, you write in 3s or 5s. So in 3s, you can just say introduction, body, conclusion. That is, imagine they said 500 words. I can just hit an introduction, then I hit a body, then I hit a conclusion. That's like 3 paragraphs totally. Also, I can have it in 5 paragraphs. So I can have an introduction, then I have 3 bodies. That's the body made of 3 paragraphs, and I have a conclusion. So it's just my thing. It's just my thing. So I don't know how you would do that, but it's just good for you to tailor your stuff to look like an outline, for it to be easily read, easily understood. So that is to develop an outline. Then yeah, your outline is usually, I'm just going to go through the outline, like the introduction, the body, then the conclusion. So your introduction should be catchy and attention grabbing, and introduces yourself and your interest. So you should tell them what you are interested in. It should tell them who you are, something like that. So it should not be direct. It must not be epic. It must not be like a movie, like Nigerian movies. It must not be Bollywood. It must not be, I'm going to go through some good and bad introductions. So, but then your introduction should be nice. You know, all those books you read, you read them and you are urged to read further. Your introduction should not be cliche. It should not be common. Yeah, it should not be something like, my mom died before I was born, or something. There's some funny introductions. I'll go through them one after the other. So you could just find catchy and attention-grabbing introductions. Now, your body should. I'm going to go through the body and then the conclusion, but I want to hit the introduction first. So for your introductions, I'm going to give examples of bad introductions. Then after that, I'm going to give some examples of good introductions, but I'm going to just explain what they are. So let's look at this. So sorry, I need to check something. Okay. So examples of bad introductions. Let's say this now. At the age of 3, my father asked me to pronounce metronidazole. I was petrified and skeptical from the first letter to the last. However, I spelled it correctly. That was when I got to know I was called to be a pharmacist. Fine. To some people, this looks really really touching, really nice, really good. It's something people would always want to do, and try to trace back the beginning of whatever they actually thought was the whole thing and bring it back to the statement of purpose after 20 years or 25 years. Fine, it's fine, but this is an example of a really bad introduction, because at the age of 3, no graduate program would even think that you know what you are doing. To think of PhD or a master, in fact, the graduate program is not something you are going there to. You're not going there to play. You're going there to work with people that will be funding you with thousands of dollars. You are going there you're going there to do things that would move the world. You can't know what you're supposed to do at the age of 3. So this introduction is really, really dull. It does not show anything, does not show any inclination to your program. So something like the next one, my hobbies and interests range from football, learning the piano, writing poetry. Currently, I pray for blah, 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 blah. My position, this is not related to your program at all. You don't need it at all. You don't, it's not something that would help. The graduate program does not care. You can actually add this at a point in your program just to show you're not a robot. But if this is your introduction, what else do you have to offer the school? You play football and so what? So what should we do about it? You understand? So this can be, at the end, maybe within your SOP, you can also say something like, in my free time, I play chess and then I play this, or I listen to music, and I know it would be very fun at, let me say, at Texas because of the music, blah, 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 at Texas. You're trying to link it with the location of the school. It's nice like that, but having this as your introduction does not go well. Then I'm going to go to a good statement of purpose, something like this. My name is Jonathan, blah, blah, blah. I am applying for a master's in public health at the University of Toledo. This is a bad introduction. This is a bad introduction. Below are the reasons why I should be selected. Now, this is forceful. It's like you are forcing them. You want to beat them up. Your introduction is too, how I put, is too direct. No, reading this is already making the person, this is dull to start. You understand? This can be anywhere in your essay, but it's really dull to start. You understand? Then examples of good introductions, something like this. When an old man urinated on my leg, it ran down my pants and into my shoe. I could not let go of him as I was holding him up, blah, 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 blah. So if you look at this introduction, you would see that there is this experience talking in this introduction. It is just trying to show that this person knows what medicine is about now. This person knows well, and this experience was not when he was too young to remember this experience. This experience was when he was grown up to understand what medicine was all about. So this already shows a grad committee that, this person has what it takes to be in this program. This person understands what it takes to be in this program. Then the one thing I would say about statement of purpose is try not to lie in your statement of purpose, because during your interviews, they're going to ask you questions from your statement of purpose. And if the sense that you lied or something, automatically, if I'm the one interviewing you, nothing will make me pick you for that. I'm just saying, because you should not lie in your statement of purpose. So try your best not to lie. Then learning outside. Yeah, so this is a good introduction because it just shows the person reading this essay that this person knows that a PhD or a graduate program or reading or science is more than just sitting in a lab. You understand? It was more, you had to also have a life. You understand? So it's an example of a good introduction. Sorry, because of time, I'm trying to rush and finish, but I'll soon be done. So yeah, so look at this now. I have known since junior high school that I would be a lawyer, but I did not take the traditional road to law school. You understand? This is a very nice introduction because the person person reading will be like, okay, so that means there is a traditional road to law school and there is another road to law school. So the person is inclined to read more. The person wants to know what's going on. Okay, what do you have to tell me about the roads to law school? So it's catchy. It's attention grabbing. So okay. I'll just go to the body now. So after the introduction, you have the body. The body is just like your normal essays. I'll soon be done. I'm very sorry. So the body is like your normal essays. So 1 to 3 paragraphs. Please try and put relevant experiences in the body. 1. Then after that, to try and put your goals. Your goals should include why you want to have that graduate program. How would it help your long-term and your short-term goals? And why that school? Why that program? I already said that beginning. And then what can you add to the program? You understand? So those are the things that should be in your body. Please do not list experiences that are not relevant. You are applying to a pharmaceutical program, and you are telling them how you worked in a bank. It's not relevant, except you find a way to make it relevant. Oh, when I worked in a bank, I met with some patients, blah, blah, blah. Or when I worked in a bank, I learned a particular skill, and this is the skill I'm bringing to the program. You understand? But not just give them, I worked in a bank for 13 years. I don't give them experiences that are not relevant to the program. Then after your body, you have your conclusion. Now, your conclusion should not be so dull. The conclusion can just be short. I usually put stuff about the school, about the environment, about the program in my conclusion. Then one thing I forgot to mention, try and mention at least 2 professors you want to work with in your SOP. Try and mention at least 2 professors you would want to work with in your SOP. And also keep your research interest a little broad. Do not be too specific so that you can find a fit. Then I think that's all. Then for the conclusion, like I said, try and make it really, not really catchy, but then something that the person would smile after reading. You understand? Or have something to think about, or think of, oh, I think this person needs an interview. I need to know more about this person. You understand? Then you can also stop saying stuff like, I implore you to consider my application. You're not forcing them. It's not your business. It's not your, don't stop forcing them to consider your application in your conclusion. Do you understand? I request you consider my application. Don't do that. Don't request that let your conclusion be mild. Let it just then. Okay, I think I'm done with that part. Then yeah, so just final words. Write your first draft. Talk about your drive and motivation, and demonstrate your interest in the school or the program, and then try to be human while you are applying and writing your stuff, and try to be yourself. Remember, do not lie. Then I would say, yeah, when you are done writing your first draft of your statement of purpose, try and edit and refine your statement. Then yeah, so pay attention to the instructions from the school or the program, e.g. word count, and proofread for grammar, spelling, and punctuation. You can use Grammarly to do that. Then take time to edit. Do not be in a rush. Start on time. Then ask someone you trust to proofread. Don't send your essays to 12 people to proofread for you. Just do it. Give it to one person you trust, or maybe a mentor, someone you know that would, because you just, it will shock you. Just see your SOP in group chats as template. So just try and send it to at least one person. In fact, at most, I use one person, that's all. Then yeah, practice to avoid. I'm done. So practice to avoid is avoid writing generic SOPs. Let the SOP you're writing be specific to a particular school, to a particular program. So even if you want to apply to another school, what you just do is pick that SOP, then edit it to make sure it fits that program, fits the work those professors are doing in that program, and that's all. Make sure you do not write generic SOPs, write specific to a program. Then avoid working on your SOP in the last minute. Do not wait till a day deadline before you start writing SOP. You know, write something good. So SOPs are written over time. So start on time. You can even start now. Then do not exceed word count. Exceeding word count will put you in a tough spot. As a person, if anybody exceeds word count, I would discard the SOP. I don't want to see it. It's just normal. And that's how some people also do. It's just not, even you do the same thing, because graduate programs have close to 200, sometimes 500 SOPs to look at, and your own is exceeding word count. And please do not say, okay, the body of your essay is 500 words, but you still have a title. That's what is making it 504. It's still 504. Try and make everything in that paper 500 if it's the same 500. Usually, if they say 500, I write 498 or 497, just in case the devil wants to do smith. You understand? So it should just be at least maximum. I'll hit that 500. You understand? So try and make sure everything in that page or whatever you're writing, both title, everything, everything should be 500 words, because nobody will be checking to remove the words that are the topic. Nobody has that time. Then including irrelevant, don't put irrelevant information or contradictory information, and do not insult any country in your SOP, or say anything bad about countries or about cultures or about races in your SOP. You have to be very sensitive to. Then excessive flattery. Do not flatter the department excessively. Your department is the best in the world. This one, Udogu, this one, it's not needed. Just try and go straight to the point. This people do not have time. Then weak introductions or conclusions avoided. Then dwelling too much on your weaknesses. Yes, you don't be in the pity party mode and be like, I had a rough time in my school. I could not survive. I was drinking Gary every day. That's why I had a bad CGPA. This one. My CGPA is 0.4/5. But I know that the Lord, don't dwell on your weaknesses. Let them see that despite your CGPA, despite your GRE score, despite whatever, you are still strong. That is what, because the program you are going for is not child's play. You understand? So don't say, oh, you don't dwell on those weaknesses. Then using informal languages or slangs. Yes, try and reduce informal languages or slang. People tell you to write your SOP in the middle. Try and stay in the middle. That is, you should not be too formal. You should not be too informal. You should find a middle road. You understand? So that is what you should do for your SOP, but avoid informal languages or slangs. Then writing in the passive voice. Do not write in the passive voice. Do not say, like, you know how you report your undergraduate project. The AGA was this, or the drug target was this. No, I did the drug target. I targeted this. I did this. I did that. Use active voice instead. It is better for you to use the active voice. It shows that you are confident of what you're saying and you are the one that is writing that stuff. And then that's all, I'm done. So yeah. Lastly, I would say that you have complete control over your statement of purpose and let it fly, but be a good pilot. Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Thank you so very much, Haniel. I'm sure that all of us learned something today. If nothing, I remember Odogu, and I remember that we should always be active. you should write in an active voice, not a passive voice. Thank you so much. If you still have any questions, please write them in the chat box. We'll attend to every single one after. Thank you so much, Haniel, for this expose on how to write your statement of purpose. It is a very, very critical point of your grad school application. Up next, we have Fahidat Gbadamosi as our next facilitator/speaker from iScholar Initiative. She is a first-class student of the University of Ibadan. She's a 2019 iScholar and also serves as the operation manager for the organization. In 2020, she received 4 fully funded offers in chemistry from various universities in the USA. She enjoys helping and supporting people. Let us welcome Fahidat Gbadamosi.
Okay, sorry, I didn't know I didn't unmute. Thank you
no
very
worries.
much for having me. I hope you can hear me very well.
Yes.
Okay, great, awesome. So I'll be speaking. Let me first of all thank Afeez, Dr. Akambi, and Haniel for the wonderful session. So I'll be speaking on academic CV and recommendation letters. So these are 2 parts of your application package that are as important as even the statement of purpose. So the thing is, in grad school application, you cannot leave one part and say, oh, maybe it's just the GRE score or statement of purpose that they're going to consider. It's really an holistic review of everything. And just like Haniel said, you should not dwell on your weaknesses. You should rather project your strength. And projecting your strength is you giving your best shot in every part of your application. So I'm not the one sharing my screen, so I have to be saying a lot of next slide. Yes, thank you, Afeez. Next slide, please. So I'll walk us through what an academic CV is, qualities of a good academic CV, components of an academic CV, and I'll just give final notes. So you notice that I keep saying academic CV and not just CV, because CV or resume that you're going to submit in grad school, it has to be an academic one, not the one you submit for a job interview or something. So what is an academic CV really? So it's a CV that is majorly for academic or educational purposes, for your master's, PhD, postdoc applications, exchange programs, and all. And it really projects the qualities you possess beyond your grade. So if you've noticed, in the world we have now, it's not really about your first class or your perfect CGPA anymore. It's about you, the total package. Are you just a nerd or an all-rounder? Your academic CV would actually tell the selection committee all of this. And what makes it really different from an industrial or work CV is the content. I'll be walking us through the content of an academic CV. But before that, let's talk about the qualities of a good academic CV, so that in the examples that we see, in the following slides would know if it's a good one or a bad one. So your academic CV should really contain relevant details that align with what you're applying for. Keyword relevant, not irrelevant, just so your CV is 5 pages or something. And then it is free from grammatical and spelling errors. You don't want to submit a CV that when they read one line, you have to stop and think about what you're saying. Then read another line, they stop again. Oh my, they're just going to drop it aside. It is aligned and organized. So as much as you're a total package, you have a lot of information to give them. If you do not sort of make it look good, the way you put it down and all that, you align the dates and all these tiny details, it could really, really, really maybe make your work look clumsy a bit, and that would tell a lot about you. And then you need to use official font type. There's some official font types like Times New Roman, Arial. Don't be using, okay, maybe I'm on Word now, and then this font type is fine and attractive. Let me use this one. No, no, no. And even if you use a font type, maybe like Times New Roman, you have to stick to Times New Roman throughout. Don't use Arial, and then Times New Roman, and also the font size. You need to stick to a font size throughout. Now, you also write in reverse chronological order. This is the most common one, from the most recent to the oldest. That means your most recent experience to the oldest experience. You're going to see that. Then recommended number of pages, 1 to 3. So for me, I try to keep it no matter what at 2 pages. I mean, whether I have a lot of information or not. But if not, I'm really happy if my CV is just 1 page, because it means that person is really going to go through it. And if it's 3 pages and maybe on the first page, it's already like, who is this person? They're just going to drop it. So that means you also need to put very important things at the top. So a good academic CV for me is written in one color, black. You don't need all the graphic design, red, yellow, green, just to show all the beauty and all. No, it doesn't. all of those colors, it doesn't mean that they are going to maybe pick the information or something. You can just keep it at black, keep it simple and all that. So, and then in your academic CV, you don't use personal pronouns. So you don't use I did this, I did that. Yeah, in your statement of purpose, you have to use I and all to show that you really did that. But in your academic CV, you don't use I, rather you use action verbs. So let's say I'm facilitating this session now, and I put it there, okay, volunteered with PSN Lagos to facilitate a session with, I didn't say I volunteered with, I just started with volunteered. So the action verb there is volunteered with PSN Lagos, something like that. Yeah, action verbs to describe your experiences. So now the components of an academic CV. So we have your title and heading, the education and qualifications, your research interests, your skills, your experience, which are in different buckets, your research experience, professional or work experience, leadership, teaching, volunteer experience, publications, conferences, certifications, online courses and MOOCs you've taken, awards and honors, professional affiliations. So now, these are components of an academic CV. It doesn't mean that in your own academic CV, you need to have all of these parts. No, you might not have everything. Well, some people do, but you might not have everything. It doesn't matter. That's why you project your strengths. So now, your title or heading. So here's what a typical title or heading of an academic CV looks like. So you have your first name, last name, phone number, email address, LinkedIn URL, and contact address. So this is an example. So Fahidat Gbadamosi, see my phone number, and then I use a sign like a slash, then my email address, my LinkedIn URL, and then my house address. So because this is for an international application, you need to put your country. You can't just leave Lagos or Oyo State and start making them wonder, oh, where is Lagos, where is Oyo, or something. So you need to put your country name. Then there are some other name formats. If you notice, I put first name, last name. So I've learned that when you want to introduce yourself, if I want to introduce myself, I'd say Fahidat Gbadamosi. I won't say Gbadamosi Fahidat, because my own name is what I have to say first. That is what the other person would most likely call me. So in some other CVs, it might not be first name, last name. You might want to put your middle name or something. So these are some other formats for that. Last name, first name, other name. So Gbadamosi, the comma there makes them know this is the person's last name, Fahidat Adedamola. Or you could also do first name, other name, last name. And that's like Fahidat Adedamola Gbadamosi. So the Gbadamosi is in capital letters, showing them that, oh, this is my last name. So when writing your CV, you need to pay attention to every detail. When submitting applications in grad school, the tiniest details are very important. You don't know if it is your CV that one of the people on the selection committee will just be like, wow, this is a very awesome CV. Something like it can happen. No? So educations and qualification. So this is something what it looks like, your university name and location, and then your year, the year it was awarded, your degree name and major highlights. So University of Ibadan, Nigeria, you always have to put that country name because it's international, remember. And the day it was awarded, in May 2021. The degree awarded is Bachelor of Pharmacy. Now, major highlights. You don't want them to have to go to the bottom where you put your award and like best graduating student. Start putting that relevant thing from the top. So CGPA 7.0 out of 7.0. Sorry, excuse me. Best graduating student, 1 out of 50 students, not just best graduating, 1 out of 50. So they know that, oh, this one is the bomb, something like that. And then you also had your relevant courses that are like very, very relevant to what you're applying for. So let's say I'm applying for a PhD in pharmacy, PharmD or something, and then my research interest is maybe in pharmacokinetics, or I'm sorry, I'm not really a pharmacy person, but I try to pick some. So from relevant courses, pharmaceutical science, pharmacokinetics, industrial pharmacy, pharmacology, and drug design, something like that. So now, if this is at the top of your CV now, and someone sees that, you'd want to continue, right? You would want to continue reading. So after your education and qualifications, your skills. So now, the thing with skills is, in a lot of us like putting good negotiation skills, good communication and interpersonal skills and all that. No, at this point, you need to start putting your hard or technical skills too. The hard skills are skills that like all this programming and the like. So the one that relates to you. For example, now I'm a chemistry student and we use HPLC, UV visible spectrophotometer and all that. And in my skills, the very first one I put is not good negotiation. What am I negotiating? So I just put proficient in the use of HPLC, UV visible spectrophotometer, and then I put proficient in the use of Spartan, Autodoc, and Discovery Studio for drug design. Let's say I'm applying for something related to drug design, then good knowledge of Python programming for data analysis. Most times you might have to analyze data and all in grad school. So good knowledge of Python. Then I can now come down to say, okay, excellent communication and interpersonal skills. So the thing is, you still need communication and interpersonal skills. You need to show that because so you need to let them know that you have skills. And then great critical and analytical thinking skills. In grad school, you definitely need to know how to think analytically. You need to know how to think critically. So now, you don't just pick up soft skills from the net and just dump it there. Think about it. For what I'm applying for, is this skill necessary? Is it important? If I put negotiation skills here, do I really need negotiation skills in my PhD or something? Well, maybe sometimes, but might not really be the important one. Don't forget, you need to be projecting what is very relevant and important. So experience. So experience is in different buckets: research, professional, teaching, volunteer, leadership. In your academic CV, two very, very important ones that you must not miss out is the research experience and maybe your professional experience. But that research experience makes you stand out. It lets them know that, oh, this person is sort of like a researcher. It projects you as a researcher, not just anybody. So in my CV, so the thing is with CVs, you don't need to pay anybody to write you a CV. If you continue writing your CV yourself, you continue improving. I always try to write my CV myself, no matter what, and I always try to tailor it to what I'm applying for. So this is the way I actually put research experience in my own CV, and I don't know, I feel it's nice. So I'll put the research or project name, so bachelor's thesis project, and the year so the duration lets them know, oh, this one has been researched for so number of months and all that. So you see, your CV is actually saying a lot of things that you probably are not even telling them. Then the topic of the project, computer-aided drug design of pancreatic cancer drug leads. If you notice, the cancer drug leads is actually at the bottom of the computer-aided drug design. I think when I was preparing this, the cancer drug leads was appearing under this date. But remember, you want it to be aligned and organized. If something is always falling under the dates, it makes it look somehow. It just has to be beautiful, even though it's very informative. So computer-aided drug design of pancreatic cancer drug leads, and then major important points, things that you actually did during this project, things that would show that, oh, this person actually worked on this. So I'm sorry if these things are not correct, but I tried my best to make it pharmacy something. So let's say when I was doing computer-aided drug design of pancreatic cancer drug leads, I simulated drug leads using a relevant software. And then I also designed drug leads with good pharmacokinetic parameters. I think all this log P and something, I'm not sure. And so that's like the activity. So after that, what did I achieve? Why did I even do this project? You know, it is that achievement when you put it there and they see that, this person actually did a research that actually changed the world. This person should be in my lab. It should be changing the world in my lab. So let's say achievements now. Successfully developed drug leads with better potency, something like that. And then maybe if you have more achievement, you put it there. Moderator, please, I would appreciate if you just interrupt me sometimes to let me know that maybe my time or something. Yeah.
All
So
right.
work
Okay, I will.
experience. Yes. So work experience. A lot of us actually did IT and all that are quite related to what we're applying for. Maybe they are relevant or something. But if it is not relevant, please don't put it. If it's bank work, what is bank work doing when you're applying for a PhD in pharmacy or something? So you put the company name and your role and all that. Oh, I apologize. 2021 is actually not supposed to be here. The date should actually just stay on its own. So the role, maybe graduate intern or I don't know what, is it locum pharmacist or something? I'm not sure. So now activity one, activity two, what did you do? So now when you're talking about the activity, you don't just say, I was dispensing drugs to something. And this is where you actually use action verbs. So maybe dispensed drugs to patients. You should also mention things that you did that helped that organization. Maybe when you got there, they were doing something in some way that was not so nice. But when you got there, you told them, oh, you could do it in this way or that way. So let's say introduce the use of a software which led to 10% increase in something like that. Keep projecting that I'm very relevant. I can add to your lab. I can add to your program. So something like that. After work experience, you can also have leadership experience if you still have space. But you don't have to make that CV 5 pages or something. No, just put things that are very, very relevant that you know, okay, they are pharmaceutical, they're related to pharmacy and all that. They can really project me and push me to actually get this opportunity. So other components, publications, we have publications, list papers or articles you have published in APA Stack. Even if you have not published it, if you have submitted, put it there and just put submitted. If it is under review, put it there, put under review. You can also even put the date, submitted in May 2020. or accepted in something like that. So beyond your publications, conferences that you've attended, all these conferences that maybe Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria conference and all that, even if you did not present there, still put it there, show that beyond doing my own studies, I also interact with other people in my field of study. I also do this and I do that, something like that. Now, online courses and MOOCs, a lot of us do edX, EDX, Coursera, Udacity, and all that, all those courses. Now, these courses that are very relevant to what you're applying for, you can mention them, you can actually state them, you can add them to your, it could actually even be what would maybe wow one of those people on the panel, like, beyond what is taught in class, this person actually goes to do more and all that. Now, your awards and honors, best graduating students, best in this, best in that, don't have all those money bag that they give you in school, best dressed in something. No. Those things are not relevant. And you don't need to have best graduating students in primary 6. Just your university. You don't really need secondary school and all that. Then your professional affiliation. I'm part of PSN-YPG. I'm part of maybe American Society of Pharmacists. I'm part of this and that, and all of those kind of things. You can add them. So now these are really the components of your CV. Now, final notes, do not lie. Don't misrepresent. Why do you even have to lie? It just shows you're not a person of integrity. And if you're someone that lies in, you can say, oh, this document is well, maybe they'll just look at it and keep it. They can actually go back, even 5 years after, they can bring out your application. Now, if you lie on something like that, won't you lie in your research? And let's say your research is going to affect something in the world. What if you're killing someone through your research? So why lie? You don't need to lie. You don't need to misrepresent any information on your CV. You don't need to overpackage. Packaging is good, yeah, but don't overpackage. Don't overpackage that you cannot even defend what you have put there. No. If when you're packaging, everything you put down, just ask yourself, read it again. Can I defend this? Okay, yes, I can. So I can leave it there. Something like that. Then follow the recommended formats given by the opportunity that you're applying for. Some, they might even give you word count pages and all that. They might tell you what they want to see in the CV. They might tell you this, and so you should always check. That's why every part of your application needs to be tailored to what you're applying for. You can't be using generic stuff. Haniel mentioned it. Applying to grad school is a job on its own. Then use the right tenses. Don't use past where you're supposed to use maybe present. Maybe you're still working somewhere, and because you want to use action verbs, you're not using past tense or something. Then don't include relevant details in your CV just to make up number of pages. Nobody wants to be reading 5 pages of CV. If the first page is not attention grabbing, they won't look at the rest. Don't include passport photo in your CV. It's not, even if you wear plenty, your face is very fine, you have beard, full makeup, and that one does not mean they would pick you or something. But then it's very unprofessional to put your passport. But the thing is, in some CVs, like in Europe, I think that's Europass, the passport is actually there. But that Europass CV is majorly accepted for some institutions in Europe. So you need to make sure that, like I said in the second point, follow recommended format given by the opportunity you're applying for. Then don't add references available on request. Why are you adding that one? After you still submit recommenders and all that, you don't need to add references available upon request in your CV. No, it is not necessary at all. You're still going to submit your recommenders, contact address, and all that. So I'll move quickly into recommendation letters. So I'll talk about what a recommendation or reference letter. So I'm just going to be calling it recommendation letter. They mean the same thing. Then why is a recommendation letter important? Who can recommend? Useful tips for getting recommendation letter. So what is a recommendation letter really? So it is a letter that discusses your characteristics and capabilities with respect to the opportunity you're applying for. So your referee is going to write a very beautiful letter telling them about things you didn't even tell them in your SOP. That's why when you're choosing a recommender, you should be very, very careful. Don't just go and choose anybody that will write maybe during his research, he actually paid somebody to write his project, or during his research, he plagiarized some, no, at all. Then a recommendation letter should be written on official letterhead, duly signed, and maybe sometimes stamped, but if they can stamp it, please stamp. And then some organizations, they would not even need your recommender to actually write on a letterhead and upload. They'll actually create a box then for them to put in their essay or their words and all that they want to put for you. Then most times, an applicant does not see the recommendation letter submitted on his or her behalf. So you don't actually see it sometimes. That is why when you're choosing your recommender, you should actually be like very, very careful and be strategic about it. Don't just pick anybody at all just because you want your application to be complete. No. So why is a recommendation letter important? There are many reasons why a recommendation letter is important, because it helps reviewers know more about you. Sorry about the heading. It should be why is the recommendation letter important. It helps the reviewers know more about you. It details your peculiarities and characteristics from another person's point of view. Okay, in your SOP, you've told me that you know how to cook rice. Sorry, you know how to work with computer, some software for your drug design and all that. Okay, you're the only one that knows this. Imagine someone else now also saying that same thing. So it just tells them that, oh, this is really the truth. This person can actually do this thing. So something like that. And then it helps reviewers know if you're a good fit for the program beyond what you've mentioned in your SOP. I just described that. And it tells a lot about your character, work ethic, and soft skills. So who can recommend? One important factor for you to consider before choosing your recommender is this proposed recommender or referee well informed about you? Does this person know me? Or is it just that, okay, the person taught me one course in 200 and they should said that someone from your department should write it, and then that's just it? No, it's not. It's not just that. Let the person be. That is why you should not wait till when you're done before you start creating that relationship with your lecturers, with your professors, your advisors, and all that. No, you don't wait till that time. And then, so who are the people that can write recommendation letters for you? First, your project supervisor. So your project supervisor is able to actually really give details of your research experience, especially if you're applying for a research program and all that. And then, your project supervisor is someone that you work with for maybe the longest, beyond maybe your project supervisor teaching you and all that. Then your course advisor. So we have course advisors in school, they are the ones that sometimes sit with us, talk about issues we're facing and all that. And they also know how we've gone through some of these issues. So something like someone that maybe a weak CGPA is because the person had issues during one semester, and maybe the course advisor knows about this. In the recommendation letter, the course advisor can actually mention this detail so that the selection committee understands that, oh, it was something that caused this. Not like this student is maybe dull or something. Now, your professors or your lecturers that you've created relationships with, something like that. And then your employer, let's say you've been working for maybe more than 2 years or something. Your employer could actually, but that should be for an academic program. Your employer should really be like the last resort, except the program actually requests for your employer to actually submit a letter for you, something like that. So now, useful tips for getting recommendation letter. First of all, have at least 5 people. Oh, did I put up to? This one is at least 5 people that you can reach out to whenever you need a reference letter. For most applications, they will ask you for 3 referees. Now, let's say you're applying to 10 schools. There are people that have applied to 21 schools, 25, like that. Now, imagine when one recommender submitting a letter for all these schools, the person will be tired. Honestly, the person will be tired, and sometimes they might not even submit for some. So that's why you should have 5, and you know how you divide them and all that. And then let's say maybe you even have someone that is unable to, maybe because he or she has gone to a location that the internet is bad or something like that. You can easily call up someone else to actually fill that spot. Now, get acquainted with your proposed recommenders before you begin your applications. Let's say you were not doing this while you were in school. You can even do it now. Some people would say, send them happy new month message, happy birthday. People like this. People like it when you show that, okay, you actually do care some way. You actually remember them. It's not just, oh, this person taught me in school and that was it. So try to start getting, you can even send them gifts, something like that. You can sit with them that, I want to start. They will, some recommenders will advise you that, oh, this is the school you should be targeting. This school, is that school. Maintain good communication and relationship with them. So there's some professors that, of course, we chat on WhatsApp, something like that. And I'm sure you have them like that. So always keep them abreast of things like this and always let them know from the beginning that, oh, I'm going to be putting in applications to this place and I'll be needing your help in so months and so months. Now you have told them maybe in January and applications open in September. So it's not like you tell them in January and then maybe the next time you contact them is in September. Yo. On your own. No. So that January to September, find a way to continue to keep communicating with them, maintain your relationship and all that. Then also keep them aware of your progress. Don't let them just submit and then that's it. No. If you get accepted, let them know. Tell them, thank you for this. I got accepted to this program and your letter was a very integral part of it. If you got rejected, no problem. Let them know that too. Because if you let them know, they could even advise you that, oh, you could actually try this other school or something like this. So keep them aware of the progress of the application. Then, okay, I think that's the last thing. So for a template for recommendation, because sometimes you don't want them to submit a generic recommendation letter for you. So you can actually go to them with a template, not like you write it for them. No, that's not really ethical. So you could actually go to them with a template. So in that book that Haniel shared before, the iScholar Guide, the iScholar Guide, your grad school journey compass. So there is a template for recommendation letter. There's a template for everything, even your first email to your supervisor, your recommendation letter, the acing the GRE, everything you need to do to ace the GRE. Your I think statement of purpose is there. Your academic CV, there's a very good template there, a one-page academic CV template there. So you should really check out these templates in that book. So thank you so much again. I hope you learned a lot. So we'll move on to the next person. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Fahidat, for your session. Thank you. It was very detailed. Thank you so much. And Fahidat is the current operations manager for iScholar Initiative. Now we're going to our final session of the day. So far, we've had our facilitators talk to us about emailing prospective supervisors. We've also talked about how to ace the GRE and TOEFL. We've talked about statement of purpose. And finally, we talked about CV. Like she said, try to always make sure that your CV is personalized to whatever scholarship or whatever program you're applying to. Now, please, if you still have any questions, kindly drop them in the chat section. She also mentioned the book by iScholar Initiative. It is a free ebook. The link will still be shared in the chat section. Make sure to download it and make sure to use it. It is packed. I've checked it out already and it is packed. Our final speaker for today is Victor Awosiji. He is going to talk to us about how to ace grad school interviews. He has a first-class bachelor's degree in applied geology from FUTA. During his penultimate years, he joined Total Energies as an engineering intern. He was selected as one of the best geoscience and engineering students in the world to attend the International Petroleum Technology Conference at the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in January 2020, sponsored by Saudi Aramco. Victor is an incoming master's student in geological sciences at Stanford University, USA, on a fully funded scholarship. He got scholarships from various US schools, including TCU and Virginia Tech. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our final speaker for the day who talked to us about how to ace your grad school interview, Victor Awosiji.
Hi, good day, everyone. Desire, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, great. And you can see my screen?
It hasn't shown yet, but it's showing that it's already started.
Just a second.
Yes, now we can see it.
Here we go. Okay, great, great, great. How's everyone doing today? I hope you're all doing fine. So I'm gonna just put it on presentation mode. Okay, so good evening, everyone. From wherever you're connecting from. My name is Victor Awosiji. I'm an incoming MS student in geological sciences at Stanford University, and I'll be starting my program next month, which means my JAPA is imminent. And I want everyone's story such that this time next month or this night next year, or let's say early next year, you can also have this kind of story. My earlier speakers have spoken a lot about what you need for graduate study, talking about how to select good schools, talking about the GRE and the TOEFL exam. Why do you need the GRE exam? Let's say in a department and 200 people are applying to that same department all over the world, from China, from India, from Nigeria, from Ghana. Tell me, how will a department evaluate all of you that were not tested under the same condition? That is why the GR is there, an examination that it's an equal playing field for everybody. TOEFL, as an international student, you have to take a TOEFL exam. Not all international students take TOEFL exam. If you're from the UK, you're from the US, if you're from, US is the country, right? If you're from Ireland or other countries considered as English-speaking country, then you don't need to. It's crazy that Nigeria is not an English-speaking country, quote, where all our life we studied with English language. The recommendation letters, very, very important. Very, very, very important. And the statement of purpose. I think the statement of purpose is your most lethal weapon to get into the graduate school. See, it's like you're in a courtroom, and your statement of purpose is your lawyer defending your case of why you should be admitted. You're not going to be there. So your statement of purpose has to do the talking for you. And that's why Haniel did a very terrific job in trying to, break everything down for us. Talking about recommendation letter is like also in a courtroom. I love to see it as you're in a courtroom. And the recommendation letters are like evidences of, oh, yes, it's true. That guy did well when he was in school. Yes, he did amazing job. Oh my God, he worked with me, did that and that. That's what the recommendation letter does for you. So it's your application is an holistic one, and department love to look at it holistically, not just focusing on CGPA. So even if we have a lower CGPA, you still have a good shot at grad school. You have other places to, to kind of make up for it. So before we continue, I want us to do something very quick. I want everybody on this call that is, except the facilitators, if you are a pharmacist and you're proud to be one, in the comment section right now, I want you to tell me your interest in pharmacy. Pharmacy is a very broad course, but there are sub-disciplines. So tell me, which one are you interested in? So don't worry, facilitators, it's going to be part of my time. I'm going to be real quick. So please use the comment section. Everybody, tell me what you're interested in pharmacy. Is it clinical pharmacy, pharmacoepidemiology, or biomedical discovery? Tell me, I want to see it. What's MPH? That's, come on, spell it out. Everybody, please do that. Everyone, every single one of us should do that. There we go. Okay. Oh my God, you guys are so brilliant. Wow, amazing. Everybody, please do that. Do that before we continue. Do that, everybody. What part of pharmacy are you interested in? Okay. So in my topic today, I would like to tell you about fostering relationships and acing the grad school interviews. So my topic runs the gamut from anatomy of graduate research funding down to extra tips and prayer. We need prayer on this journey. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the anatomy of the, sorry, my screen is not coming up. Just a second. Are you sure you can see my screen, everybody, right?
Yes, we can.
Oh, good. So I'm going to talk about the anatomy of graduate research funding. Money is very important. This is something that most people don't like to tell you, but I want you to start thinking another level, at another level. I don't want you to be thinking like normal students that want to apply to graduate program. I want you to start seeing things from the perspective of the professors that are judging you in quotes, right? That are evaluating you. Money is very important. Money pushes innovation. Money drives research. If you have brilliant ideas and you cannot back it up with money, it's high probability that that idea might not come into fruition. Same thing applies to grad school. They hire you to come and work. Graduate school funding is not a reward for your academic excellence. You're being hired to any program to come and do research. But where exactly does that money come from? It comes majorly from two sources in the United States. First, comes from grants from federal sources, like National Science Foundation in the year 2020 disbursed about 8.3 billion US dollars to scientific research alone. This funding is given to professors in different universities, R1 universities, right? Research universities, to do research, to tackle different scientific problems of our generation. That money, let's say a particular professor applies for that grant and gets $1 million. That money is being used to do that research, right? So, for example, you need to get some equipment. You need to, hire graduate students like me and you to come and do that research. You are being hired as a student to come do that research. So you are coming to work, right? Other sources are, for example, National Institute of Health, the National NASA, and different other federal sources, different agencies also give out this money to these professors to do this research. Grants from private sources. I think this one is very, very common. For example, let's say from the American Pharmacist or Association or companies like Johnson & Johnson, like Moderna, like, Merck, Pfizer. At least we're very familiar with the COVID-19 and stuff like that. You guys are in a very interesting position right now because there's so much money going to clinicals, going to, vaccines, going to how to produce vaccines, how to produce good drugs and stuff like that. Very, very important. So you are very important on this journey. Talking about trajectory and fit, I think the most important word in applying to graduate school is a three-letter word, FIT. Do you fit into this graduate program? Let's say we are a department, right? All of us on this call, we're a department, and let's say we have 10 professors in this department that form the department, and we want to bring in students for each of those professors doing different aspects of pharmaceutical studies. Let's say I am interested in biomedical discovery and development. I want a student that also has interest in biomedical discovery and development. Simple as it is. So if, let's say, a student that all his or her life has been interested in something else that is totally different from what I'm doing, there's an high tendency that I might not want to pick that student because I don't have all the time in the world to babysit you on the basics. That's why that word fit is very important. Research for professors that are doing what you love and reach out to them. It helps when you have research and work experience that matches with the interest of the professor. Just as the earlier speaker has said, you should see it as a job, like you're applying for a job, not just like you're going to school. Check yourself first. Do you fit? What do you love exactly? I think that's the first step you should take while on this journey? What do you love in pharmaceutical research? That's why I asked you to drop it in the comment section. Because that's going to drive your trajectory on this journey. You should look for those that love what you love and apply to your loved ones. So here is my own, in quote, loved ones. I made this sheet, I think about July of 2020. And I just sat down, okay, you know what? I'm interested in Bayesian modeling, right? And in geology, because I'm a geologist. And I have to reach out to the best programs. I sat down and made sure I did my thorough research on each of the universities I'm interested in applying to. And I reached out to them individually, to professors in that department that doing what I'm interested in. For example, I didn't apply to Harvard because Harvard is not doing the research I'm interested in, although it's a very great school. So don't go after the rubrics of ranking and say, okay, this school is very good, I want to apply top schools, I want to apply to this or that. No, you should be selective because it's more about the research and the professor than the name of the school. Apply to your loved ones and explore the power of association. This, I put it in red, will get you in. Power of association. What am I saying here? I'm saying that your relationship really matters, your professional relationship. Who do you know in your field that is doing research in the US? You know, stuff like that. Don't worry, I'm gonna talk more about that later. So here's a shocking email I got. I think immediately I reached out to a professor at Stanford. I was shocked to get this comprehensive email from that professor. Why? Because when I was doing my undergraduate research, I read this professor's research paper. Unknowingly to me, I didn't even know I was going to apply to this professor. And then he came out with a comprehensive, you know, very interesting stuff. I mean, nobody kind of like really talked well about me, you know, research-wise ever. So I was really, so don't look down on yourself. That's okay, wait, I'm from Nigeria, and they might not really respect my research. Please, it's a lie. No matter what you've done, no matter how little it is, as long as you added to knowledge and you understand what you're doing in your particular area of interest, you should reach out to them. You never know. They might just be as interested as this man is. And yes, I even shot my shot to some professors. I think Caltech, a very top school as well. And that professor read my email. I knew because I used a tracker, and then in reply, another professor at one smaller school, I sent an email to him, and he kind of like, I'm sorry, I'm not interested. And that was it. I mean, I felt insulted after taking time to compose an email. So what am I saying? It's all about fit, because those professors I was shooting shots at that time were not really, my research didn't really fit with them. So that's the power of it. Building academic relationships. Now I want to use an analogy that I think is really going to help you guys. Most especially the guys on this call. You know, have you ever seen a very beautiful lady that you really like, that you're very interested in? You want to go all out to reach out to that lady. You get her number, you get her social media pages, you want to check her out, right? You want to know who her friends are, you want to know what her interests are. You want to apply pressure, subtly apply pressure, and you want to be consistent. Use that same idea when you're reaching out to a professor you're really interested in. First, read the professor's research paper that interests you. It's really going to help you. And some of you might feel, my God, reading research paper, oh, geez, no. Are we back to books? Yes, we are back to books, because you're going to read a whole lot of research papers in your grad school. So the earlier you get used to it, the better for you. And there's the power of social media. All the professors I reach out to, I connected with them on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on all the social media that they appeared on. I want them to see my posts. I want to interact with their posts. I want to, I want to know them as a human being, not just as a researcher, Reach out to these people in your field and they will tell you. So, there's some people in your field, let's say on social media, that are just really connected, that could really help you to, I had a mentor back then that I just got on Zoom call with her and I was like, okay, you know what? I'm interested in this research. Can you she's also a professor. She's like, oh, in University A, talk to the professor. He's doing the same thing you're interested in. University B, do the university. So that really helped me in searching for schools, because she's really savvy with the research in that field, and because she's also in that field. So it's really good to reach out to this kind of people. The holy grail of grad school application at the grad school student themselves. So let's say you're interested in University of Texas, their pharmaceutical lab, and reach out to students in that group. They are human beings like you, right? Reach out to them, tell them what your interest, you're planning on applying by fall 2022 or spring 2022. Tell them your interest and tell them you're interested in working with this professor. Some of them are just like, oh my God, no, please, hell no, don't come to our lab. Jesus, guy, you're going to, yeah, I had someone tell me that, oh no, please don't try it. Don't come to this person is going to choke you. It's highly demanding. Some says, oh my God, confidentially, I think this person might be racist, or this person might be biased or something like that. You don't want to work with this kind of people. You want to get confirmation from graduate students themselves. It's okay if you're unable to get that detail of information, but it's always good to give it a shot. The more you seek, the more you know. If you are really interested in something, in your application is really going to show that you really spent quality time in researching their school, in researching the research they're doing in that university, and researching the people that are in there. So let's go to the second part of the presentation, which is the interview. Please, a minute. So our path to graduate school is sort of like this. Let's say someone took this route to facing this direction to graduate school, someone took another route, someone took another route. We all are heading to the same place. Some people might have a lower CGPA and a very good GRE score and TOEFL score and a very good recommendation letter and absolutely amazing statement of purpose and still get to the same graduate school with someone that was a top student in everything. So nothing is cast on stone. All the things we're telling you is just, it's just a guide that you should use. The journey is different and unique for everybody. So please just do your best, and we're looking forward to hearing your story later. The official interview, which is the first part of the whole process. Let's say you've submitted your statement of purpose, you submitted all your application. So let's say this time is around, let's say if you're applying for fall 2022, I think it's always a good time to start researching for professors, and application should kind of open around September, October, November, December. Please try as much as possible to make sure that by December 1, you've submitted all your applications in, especially if you are interested in top programs. Even if they're not top programs, but you need funding, please apply very early. So official interview, you submitted your application, they've looked at everything, and it's January, right, of 2022. So this is the time that most professors sit down, departments sit down. So, okay, who exactly do you want to, we have 300 applications and we only have 20 slots for these guys. So they've picked, using their own departmental rubric, they've picked who, let's say the top 30 students, right? And it's so difficult for them to streamline. So they'll be like, okay, you know what? Let's invite them officially for an interview and let's see who fares best. So this interview is set up by the department or the professor after your application, and they judge your sense of reasoning and evaluate if you are the person that really wrote that on purpose. And if you're the same person they've been reading about your resume. So how do you really prepare for your official interview? Most interviews these days are going to be done virtually. So you need a very strong internet connection and you need good lighting. You don't want to appear like a shadow on Zoom call or on Skype, right? They need to see your face very well. That might sound like a cliche, but please try as much as possible that you have good electricity supply. Wear something comfortable. You don't have to, oh, Jesus, I'm talking to these white guys for the first time, until wear a suit and a tie, and then you struggle, please. No. You just wear something comfy, Read your statement of purpose very well. Your resume very, very well. So what are the type of questions they could ask you in an official interview? Something like, tell us something about yourself, right? That is most likely going to be the first question. You want to make sure that you're only talking about the academic aspect of you. We are not interested about how many sons or daughters your father and mother have. Although that information is good, but we don't need it for this kind of interview. Keep it academic. Why this program? They could ask you why this program. Like I got asked about this. This question is kind of tricky. They asked me at one university like that, I've forgotten, and then they were like, "Oh, so why is this program?" Because it's a top school. I try as much as possible not to say, "Oh my God, this is an Ivy League school," something like that. No, they don't want to hear that. They know already that they're an Ivy League school. or it's a school located in a place you're interested in. Why this program? Tell them about your interest in working with a certain professor or your, something like that. So do you have any question for us? Now, at the end of the interview, they always ask this question. And please try your best not to say no, that you don't have any question for them. You must have a question for them. I mean, you can't just say you don't have a question. Something like, okay, can I talk to graduate students in the department to get a feel from student perspective? If it's a good department, they are most likely would have given you that. But if they don't, they can put you in connection with a student to talk to, and something like, okay, so let's say, am I going to be fully funded? Try if I'm admitted into the program, like what are the expenses? You just kind of like talk as human beings, right? And relate as normal people. So I put this very useful resource. I think it's terrific. I used it during my my interview process. These two, they are YouTube channels of two individuals. So I'm gonna put it in the chat box after this presentation. So the unofficial interviews, to me, I think these ones are the best. It's an interview that is set up by a professor or a lab PI. PI is the principal investigator, to get to know you. Like, let's say this unofficial interview might be before you submit your application, and the professor just really wants to know you. You might be even, of course, you have to request for an interview, not interview now, a discussion after you sent your first email, right? So set up this interview, and they might just come after you've even submitted your application. Let's say all of you have submitted your application, and the professor was like, okay, I have 6 people and they are currently admit 3, so I want to talk to each of them unofficially, just like get to know you. Don't take it so serious, but make sure that you impress. I think you most likely won't be on the spotlight. And yeah, that's true. I mean, like the professors really don't like put you in the spotlight and kind of like test you. Like, okay, what is this? Okay, divine this, or tell me about this, or something like that. No, you're not going to be on spotlight. It's going to be like an interaction, a one-on-one interaction, to get to know you guys individually, and to make sure that you're really interested in their program. Win the hearts of the professors by showing that you've done a lot during your undergraduate days. It's always good. Some of you might think, oh, I've not done a lot. I mean, like, I just did my final year thesis and that was it. I mean, that's the whole research I did. That's a lie. During your undergraduate internship, I don't know if you guys do internship now, but in your penultimate year, most likely you did an internship, right? And then you submitted a report and you worked, if you truly worked though, when you're on IT, that's kind of like a research, These are experiences that, most students don't even have the opportunity to do abroad. Like, for example, in my field, undergraduate students don't go to intern in oil and gas companies. It's only masters and PhD students. So the program I applied to, we were very impressed that I worked with Total when I was an undergraduate. So, of course, it's not like a research, but it's a work experience that is still related to the research I'm interested in doing at Stanford. So it's easier to convince a professor than a panel. Seriously, we all know it's easier to convince one person than to convince, let's say, 10 people, you understand? So if you have opportunities to talk to professors, a particular professor you're interested in, over and over again, please try as much as possible to impress that person. How to win the professor to your side? Talk to his or graduate student to know what the professor is like. That's very important. Talk to the graduate student in that program. Funny enough, some graduate student might even intercede on your behalf and be like, just walking to their professor of the office, like, oh, there's a student, kind of reach out to me that is interested in working with us, blah, blah, blah. And then they might just see, it might even be settled like that. If a graduate student really likes you, geez. Like, for example, when I was applying to my program, I saw that I had to speak to one graduate student that was about to finish a PhD. And luckily enough, as you might have guessed, the same professor is now my own advisor. So that's the power of graduate student. Peruse the website of that professor very well. Know about their research. Know them as a researcher and as a person. It's always very good. Find genuine links that you have with that professor. For example, at Virginia Tech, the professor I was interested in working with, I've connected with him on Twitter about 3 years ago. And he followed me back, back then, just because I put geologist in my profile. And now I'm reaching out to him, and then I saw his name. I went to check on Twitter. I'm like, oh, geez, this guy, I've been following his tweet for a while. hey, what's up? The first thing I put on the first email, my name is blah, 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 from blah, 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 right? And then here's my Twitter handle I've been following you for so and so. And the first thing he did was to go to Twitter and go check. That's a genuine link, right? Yours might be something else. It might be you've read that professor's work. It might be pretty much anything, or you share some particular interest together, So yeah, be persistent from the first email till you get admitted. Like for me, I started reaching out quite early around this time, right? And I made sure that I kept the connection on till April of this year. So April 15th is like the deadline of admission in the US generally, not everybody. But so I made sure that till I got admitted, I make sure I kept the conversation on. Pretty much talk about anything that interests me. Read research papers. I can't emphasize that enough. Of course, don't read all the papers, right? Read just introduction, result, and conclusion. You will get an abstract. You get an overview of the research. Be genuinely interested. New publication. Okay, now you might wonder that, okay, what do I want to keep talking to a professor? I mean, what do I keep telling the professor after I've told him from the first email what am I interested in? Good. Now let's say you've reached out to the first email. You talked about yourself. You guys have done a Zoom meeting or might have not done a Zoom meeting. If you have a new publication, let's say next month, you reach out this month, right? And next month you submit a publication, reach out to that professor, tell that professor the new publication. That shows that, okay, this guy is on track, right? You want an award that is related, to your research or related to your field. Good job. Send it to the professor. You are going for a conference next 2 months, right? And you're presenting in that conference. You want to tell the professor. You want to even invite the professor to come, check your to come see your presentation or something. Anything that portrays you as a motivated, is throw the weight on that side. First step, reach out early. Second step, sustain relationship. First step, supply apply pressure till the end, right? So here's a kind of like email. A friend asked me to send in the template to which I used to send my first email, and here's it. So you might want to copy that. So talking about, I was just going through my Yahoo mail and I saw that a particular professor since September of 2020 to April 2021 with exchanged 62 messages, that talks about applying the pressure and keeping the consistency alive, right? Same for a professor at Stanford, does the same thing, over 38 emails, just exchanging. So it's also difficult when they get on the panel to decide who comes in. It will be so difficult for someone that knows you to actually reject you to a greater extent. Of course, you have to be a competitive candidate as well, So extra tips, connect and talk to more people in your field in the US. Geez, I can't overemphasize this, but for me, one social media app to rule them all, which is Twitter. Unfortunately, Twitter has been banned in Nigeria, but of course, you know how you get around it. I'm not saying you should disobey Nigerian law. I'm not saying that, So Twitter was so amazing for me in the year 2020. There's this association I belong to, the Geological Society of America. So they had this mentorship program for students, specifically applying to grad school. I told them my interest and everything. I filled a Google form, and then I got paired with a mentor. And that mentor, I could say, was the angel that God sent to me to get into my present program, because she really took it from, she really held my hand step by step along the way. And that's really helped. That's the power of an Acing association. If you're a member of, let's say, American Pharmaceutical Association, you want to make sure that you follow them on their pages. You want to make sure that people that are following them, professors, you follow those professors as well, either on LinkedIn or whatever social media app that you use. You want to make sure you keep following them. On LinkedIn, check a professor that is doing anything pharmaceutical. You can follow, like, let's say 500 of them. Yeah. This thing I've been doing for a very long time. You understand? Like since my 300 level or 200 level, you understand? But you can still do that in the space of 2 months, right? Just keep connecting with people. So many things, interesting things are going to come to your feed, right? When you're going through these social media pages. Most of them are now it's not going to be about Shidi Balabala or one contest or anything. It's now going to be more about pharmaceutical opportunities or jobs. It can even be jobs. You can even get a job offer from there. It can be anything funny that is in your field. It might even be meme that is specific to your, to your field. So it really keeps you in the spirit of applying to graduate school and professionalism, right? So it's always good to if your social media page is inundated with irrelevant, now is the time to change the algorithm to work in your favor. Some more extra tips: reach out early. Don't be the patient dog. Trust me, the patient dog right now doesn't eat the fattest bone anymore, right? You are applying to a professor, you're interested in working with a professor, reach out very early, right? To quickly, create good relationship and bonds with the professor. So don't be the patient dog, rather be the early bird that catches the worm first. So whatever thing you define as a worm, either catching a professor's attention first or even the graduate coordinator's attention first, just make sure you reach out early. It helps a lot. Like, one of the advantages of reaching out early for me, I applied to 5 institutions. I only paid application fee to 1. Why? I talked to all the graduate coordinator and explained my financial predicaments to them. Of course, I'm from Nigeria. If you convert Naira to dollar, it's quite a lot of money. So I told them all that, and they gave me applications, forms to submit that were different from the normal grad school application. So because I reached out early, I was able to, do all these things, you understand, early, got the waiver and everything, then now put in my application. That's the power of reaching out early. I would love to leave you with some motivational quotes from the late Kobe Bryant. I think throughout 2020, it really kept my brain in touch about, waking up by 4 o'clock to either read for my TOEFL or GRE, and then by 9 o'clock, I'm trying to reach out to professors or probably doing something else that's, that is related to applying to grad school. And if you're even much more interested in applying to top school, you really have to put in a whole lot of work. Kobe Bryant said, people just don't understand how obsessed I am with winning. Like, he has a mentality. He has to win, and that's it. That means you have to do all the things related, all the things you have to do to win. Kobe Bryant, a basketballer, works 100 times more than other his basketball mates. He goes to the gym as early as 4, drops 1,000 shots, and every day like that, all his life. Now, if he's in a game, he says something like, there is no move I want to do in a game that I've not practiced 1,000 times. So it's just one more time doing that same thing. That's where the obsession comes in. When you care about something 24 hours in a day, you care about this grad school 24 hours a day. You want to get out of this country. You want to get a better life for yourself. And the best and easiest way for you to get out and get a very good and professional life is through school, through grad school. You have to be so interested in that for 24 hours in a day. Your dream, you think about it. When you're about to sleep, you think about it. He says something else: I have nothing in common with lazy people who blame others for lack of success. Great things comes with hard work and perseverance. No excuses at all. It's easier to come to this place and tell you that, oh, it's, we going to this school, or Haniel going to this school, Fahidat go to this school, Afeez going to school, and likes. There's a whole lot of work that went into it with perseverance. There are some days I'm just tired. I'm not just interested. Like, sometimes I feel like my brain is, I don't know, but I still wake up to do that every day. That's power of perseverance. The moment you give up is the moment you let someone else win. That's another thing on this journey. You slack on firing on all cylinders for your application. The moment you sleep is the moment another student takes your spot. You might not see it physically, but at the end of the day, it's really going to tell. So that's what I have for you guys. And I think we're going to the question and answer session right now. So thanks for listening to my talk. And I sincerely appreciate the opportunity to get to talk to you guys today. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you for your very detailed session. So we're going to jump right into the question and answer session because time is far spent. I will take the questions that we have currently that have been asked. So we have, the first one is for Afeez. which one is more advisable to write between GRE and TOEFL? Can one write GRE without TOEFL and still be able to apply to different schools?
Oh,
Were you able to get the question?
yeah,
Or
yeah,
should
I
I
got,
retake
I
it?
got you.
Okay.
I got you. Now, I would
All right.
say this depends on where you are submitting your application to. So, if you're interested in a particular school, look up the school and check their requirements. If they require you to submit the GRE, if they require you to submit the TOEFL. Some schools waive language proficiency tests for Nigerians. So if this school waives this test for you, then you can apply. But if it is stated that you must submit the GRE test or the TOEFL test or IELTS, then you have to submit it. Another thing, this test, another importance of this test is that it improves your overall profile. Now, maybe while the admission committee are going through the applications, and this it's not like a competition. So they compare everybody's application package. So if you have TOEFL and another person does not have TOEFL, that might be an edge for you over the other applicants you get. So it's important. I know these tests cost a lot, but it's still important to submit them if you have them. It just improves your overall profile and you have let me say higher chance to secure an offer.
Thank you. So just in that same line, is there any reason why TOEFL or IELTS, is there anyone that is more preferred? That's another question that we have.
It depends. Like I said earlier, I think in North America, USA to be precise, the TOEFL is more preferred. And I think in Canada, IELTS is more preferred. In Europe also, I think IELTS is more preferred. So you can weigh your budget. I think the IELTS is much more expensive than the TOEFL. So, and like I said earlier, I think depending on the school, I know there are some schools in the US that don't accept IELTS. They only accept TOEFL. So you have to also put this in mind while you are trying to determine which one to take.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
sorry.
Sorry,
So have
just 1 second. Dr. Akombi, thank you very much, sir. Dr. Akombi,
sorry,
yes.
Yeah, let me just drop a word. Sorry, I have to leave now.
Yes, please.
One thing I
sir.
forgot to mention earlier on is I want to encourage all the participants, especially the pharmacists, please shoot in for a PhD program. I won't deceive you, there is where the funding is. Without funding, you cannot get here. The visa will be very difficult to get. And again, in your own field, unfortunately, there are not many programs with MSc. You want to shoot in for a PhD program, and there are so many of them. And one other thing, shoot in for the Ivy League school. Those schools, they have a lot of funding. They are ready to welcome a lot of international students. And again, please, you can reach ISI through Fahidat or through our website. I would love to connect with any of you guys if you have any question.
Thank you very much, Dr. Akombi. We appreciate your time. Thank you. So, yes, Fahidat, you were about to say something.
Oh yeah, I wanted to add to what Afeez said. So in starting this journey at all, you need to sort of know the schools you want to apply to and the requirements. So a lot of people usually work with something like an Excel sheet. They would create different columns with SOP, GRE, TOEFL, the minimum score, is it waived and all. So now some schools actually accept TOEFL or IELTS, while some will tell you it's just TOEFL, they don't take IELTS. So you need to understand the requirements of this school. It's not like one is preferred or something. So understanding the requirements is very, very important before you even start at all.
All right, thank you. So it's a matter of preference of the programs or scholarships that you apply to. Just to confirm also, we have another question asking, how many years does the TOEFL result last before it's invalid?
Okay, so I think Dr. Akombi has responded. So TOEFL IELTS, I think 2 years, and then GRE 5 years.
Okay, thank you. So we have another question that says, and this is directed towards Haniel. So what are your thoughts on paying someone, basically, like paying someone for a service to write your SOP.
Yeah.
Oh, see, everybody's already saying no. Okay.
Like,
Haniel,
Haniel, we
can you
can't hear
unmute
you.
yourself?
You are muted.
Okay. I will discourage it 100%. It's not, apart from it's not ethical, it's not going to help. It's not going to help because some people make sure when you pay people to do application stuff for you, some of them can try to put in stuff that will make you get in, but that will be giving you problems in the long run. So they can write in your SOP that you are the best student in your department when you are not. Or write your CV for you and put stuff that you did not do. And those things would be asked during your interview. You may just be looking like a dummy. And the thing is, you have to just do it yourself. It's easier that way. You get to know the whole thing that way. Yes.
Yeah, so it's just better to give
Sorry,
someone.
I'll just chime in on that.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Yeah, good. Another thing is that there's this FEPA rule when we're submitting our application. So those universities, as they rule, FEPA rule, I don't know what it is, I think with a body in the US, such that you sign it, you have to accept. Most of us don't read those policies, right? And then it says in one of those policies that if they find out on the long run that any element of your application is false, the university has the absolute right to eject you away from the program, and not just that, to ban you from getting any higher education from the United States. So please try your best not to. It's a criminal offense. Yeah.
I mean, it is even better to write every single part of your application yourself. What are you paying somebody for? No one knows your story as much as you do. The thing is, it might seem tough. Just for me, I always say I will write my first draft. I write everything that comes to my head first. Then after, I'll keep looking at. That's why it's not a day's job. It's something that you have to do over time. Something like that.
All
Yeah.
right.
So the thing is, just do it yourself. Like what Victor said, it's like fraud. So imagine you get in, you don't share testimony for church, say they give you admission, then the school now you get. So just to be on the safe side, I beg, I'm serious.
All right. Thank you very much. So just to confirm, we have another question asking, is there a difference between the statement of purpose and a motivation letter?
Okay. For the thing is, these words are very loose, but the first thing I would say is for the person asking the question, there's a link I shared about the book, ISI Scholar Guide, stuff like that. So the distinction is there. But from personal experience, I know that these words are used loosely. So a personal statement can also mean a motivation letter, can also mean a statement of purpose, depending on the school that is asking for it. So some people can just say, write a personal statement and tell you what to write within the personal statement. Your personal statement should contain your motivation for graduate school. Your personal statement should include your research interest, etc., like that. But I know that personal statements and motivation letters are more of your bio, like your personal experiences in relation to the program, and are usually short, but your statement of purpose is more like a cover letter. You understand? So it's more inclined to the research, it's more inclined to the graduate school. You understand? But the person can just read that book. It's easier that way. You just enjoy.
Okay. All right. So definitely please read the book. Yes.
Also try to fighting your statement of purpose, personality, or whatever it is to the program specific, because it's the same you applying to different schools, right? But you want to show different facets to different schools. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. So streamline your statement of purpose. It should never ever be generic. So we also have, what about non-American schools? Because it seems like we focused on do the rules generally tend to apply even for European, Asian schools?
Yeah, so the thing is, everything we've actually discussed, aside GRE and TOEFL, actually apply to anywhere you want to apply to. So GRE is mainly in the US, but there are schools outside the US that also accept GRE. And there are schools even in the US that waive GRE. So if you want to apply to the UK, especially for a PhD or something, you still have to search for schools, you still have to email supervisors, you have to submit your academic CV, write a statement of purpose. If it's Canada, you have to do the same. So pretty much everything applies to anywhere. I'll just say that.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Fahidat. So we have someone who asked when the best time of application should be. Dr. Akombi already responded to that, and so that because of time, I'll just say whoever asked that question, kindly look through the chat. You will see Dr. Akombi's response to that. Now, our final question will just go to each of four of you left here. What is one factor you feel like people often forget when applying, but you think that people should pay more attention to? So we'll go from Afeez to Victor to Fahidat and then to Haniel.
Okay, sorry, Desire, right? That's your name?
Yes, please. Yes.
Did I pronounce that one? Okay, yeah.
Yes.
So before they all say their final, their parting words and who, I think I saw a question where someone asked that, can you apply for a PhD program directly? I think I saw that. So I want to say that, yes, you can actually apply for a PhD program with your bachelor's. All of us speaking to you on this call, we actually don't have any masters. So we applied for a PhD directly, especially in the US. They really they prefer that you apply for a PhD rather than a master's program. And it's usually PhD programs that get more funding compared to a master's program. And then I think I saw another question about when should I start? Is it NYSC, after NYSC, or when you're something? You should actually, I would say for most of us, so let me just say for me, the other guys speak for themselves. Even before I started NYSC, I was already thinking about this. So the whole implementation was during NYSC. So it was a plan like, okay, when I'm doing my NYSC, I'm going to write GRE to apply. So when I finish my NYSC in May, in August, I'm resuming to the US or something like that. So during your NYSC, just do all of these things, and then by God's grace, you're going to get it.
Thank you very much. Okay, so to the question that we spoke about earlier, what is one factor you believe more people should pay more attention to while applying for grad school?
Okay, I'll start with selecting the right school. I think this is very, very important, if not the most important. So like Victor said, fit. So it's very, very important. You have to make sure that the school you're applying to, you are a good fit for their program. Because one thing that often causes rejection is that you are either not suitable for what they are doing, or your research interest does not align with that of the program. So fit is very, very important. And you can only do this by selecting the right schools. So there are a lot of schools. If you are focusing on the US, I think you have US News, you have Princeton Review, you have a lot of resources to search for schools according to your program. So search for schools based on your program, based on your research interest. For example, I think pharmacy, I think it's also broad, would have some subsections. So there are some schools that are more inclined to a particular section in pharmacy than another. So take your time to search for those schools thoroughly, and then reach out to professors. Read instructions on the school website. Some schools will tell you, oh, don't reach out to professors. Some schools will tell you you have to secure a professor before you can be guaranteed admission or funding. So look out for those instructions. Look out for the application requirements. Do you need text scores? Do you need to submit? Do you require publications? Do you need to submit recommendation letters? Everything that is required. Make sure you scrutinize it very, very well. Thank you.
Thank you, Afeez. Victor?
Oh, okay. So for me, if you inch one thing that students really, really kind of neglect while applying to grad school, I think the one I've seen that is most pervasive is availability of funding, because money drives everything. No matter how amazing you are as a student, no matter how brilliant you are as a student, if there is no money for your research, sorry, it's as easy as that. So I think that is really, really, really important. You want to be sure the program you're applying to, the professor you're applying to has money for research. He or she is interested in bringing in graduate school for the next cohort. I got rejected in some programs just because of that. Oh, your application is amazing. We'd love to have you. However, at this point in time, right, that's it. So if I'd really, really been shrewd in my selection of schools and knowing which one has funding, I feel I shouldn't get that kind of email. So yeah, that's it for me. And I think another thing that is very important that, of course, students take serious, but don't really understand the importance of that element is what Haniel spoke about, the statement of purpose. You see, the statement of purpose is it's like a machine gun to break down the walls. Like, it's very, very important. I've read so many statements of purpose. Every year there's this thing in the US, right, among the academics. You want to make sure that your statement of purpose doesn't fall under the statement of purpose hall of shame. That is making simple errors like verbs, very small, like it's crazy, it's very funny. Some very good profile, and then you see some accident in between while reading the statement of purpose. Your statement of purpose must be perfect. Must be perfect. I mean, you must write at a graduate level, right? It's different from writing as an undergraduate. So those two factors, I think, are very important. Availability of funding and your statement of purpose. Yeah, that's it for me.
Thank you, Victor. Haniel.
Okay, so just from what Victor said, I would say that avoid using too much like big words in your statement of purpose. Write very clearly. Don't don't use all the GI words you've learned in your statement of purpose. Don't confuse the person reading your statement. So it's really hard when you are reading something and you're always checking dictionary. You can't flow. So don't use big words. Use nice words and just be in the middle. Don't be in the gutters. Don't be in the sides of the road. Be on the road. So that's it. Then what I would just say, the first thing I would say is graduate school process is not easy. I'm just going to say that because I know it's not like motivational speech. You feel so agile now. You feel so you can kill people, you can destroy anything, but then when you start, you will see how, I wouldn't say difficult, but how challenging it is. You're going to face challenges on the way. You understand? You're going to have rejections. You may have rejections. Like I had 18, you understand? So that's how challenging it can be. But the thing is, you have to keep going. Unless you want to do your stuff in Nigeria, but then if you want to do your stuff outside, you just have to keep going. I know what I'm saying. It's not as easy as it is, and it's not as hard as you think it is. It's in the middle, but it depends on you. Then the second thing I would like to say is try and talk to people. Don't do things on your own. There's this thing about Nigerians where you want to do things on your own because you believe this guy, if you apply to this school, they apply like this, they will carry him, no carry me. It's not about that. It's actually about research fit. You understand? I recommended someone for a program, and I recommended the person for a program not because I knew the person would enter before me. The person had a better research fit for that program than I did. And the person entered. I entered somewhere else. Fine. We are all happy. That's just how this life should be. Try and be with people. You are already a group. Don't say because you're applying to graduate school then you break out and all. Then try and talk to people that have gone ahead. Not like disturb them so much, but then ask. If you are giving someone your SOP to review, let it be someone that knows about SOP. If you're asking somebody about GRE, let it be someone that knows about GRE. Don't be alone. It won't help you at all. So try and join group chats for your GRE prep, try and join group chats for your visa interviews, for anything. Don't do things alone. That's the last thing I would say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Fahidat would like you to also tell us how we can reach ISI. Please unmute your microphone.
Yeah. So let me just talk about ISI first. So Dr. Akomi is a very amazing mentor, especially to all of us here. And like he said on the call, if you want to reach out to him, especially for him to mentor you, because I'm sure he has mentored about 100 people. So is maybe I'll drop our email. I don't know. I mean, please, if you're on the call, could you please type ISI email? I'm unable to type right now. So you can just reach out to us via email, and then we'll pass it on to whoever you want to talk to. And yeah, I think that's email or maybe Twitter DM. Yes, our Twitter is also very active, so Twitter DM also works. The person handling will pass it on to whoever you want to speak to. Yeah, so for me, I think the question, one factor or something, a lot of us are talking about many factors. Yeah. I would want to continue from where Haniel stopped. One thing that your documents, if you're giving your documents to anybody to review, just like Haniel said, make sure it's somebody that probably has a knowledge of that field or that stuff you're giving them. And you don't need to give 1 million people your SOP to review just so you get in or something. No, you don't need that. And it is not even by it's better you give someone in the field you're applying to. You're applying for pharmacy and you give Victor in geology your SOP to review. Because of what? You would not even be able to see if there are some errors you are making, linking all the research and all that. Then always remember that you can do it yourself. You can always do everything yourself. You can write your CV yourself. You can write your SOP yourself. You would even write it better than whoever you're going to pay. That is just because no one knows your story as much as you do. So you can do it yourself. And the only way you can do it yourself and do it best is for you to start early. Don't wait till 1 month. Some people start applications that open in September. Some people have started since January. Something like that. So it's good to start early. And starting is not that it could just be they just do 1 hour of maybe checking one document each day, or maybe 1 hour. Okay, I just need to maybe work on my CV, and maybe it's just the research experience part they work on. Then later they merge everything together. So you can really, really, really do everything yourself. And don't forget that the grad school application is an holistic review of every part of your application. It is not only about a GRE of 330. Victor, if you would allow me to mention this, Victor is going to Stanford. Victor did not score. If Victor, if you want to say your score, go ahead and say it.
Yeah. Sure, why not? So I pretty much ate the GRE exam, sorry to say, because seriously,
Victor did not score a 3.
So I got a 303 in GRE exam. And seriously, typically that score doesn't enter Stanford University. But there are other excellent aspects of my application that was so compelling that the university couldn't just resist. So you are more than a score. That's just what I'm trying to say. I think I'm a testament to that. You're more than your CGPA.
Yes, seriously. You are more than that. So the main thing is projecting your strength in every other part. If one part is lacking, fire the other part. That is just it. So I think that is pretty much all. There'll be more, definitely. So it's not a very easy journey, yeah. Especially sometimes when you also have to think about the finance of paying for your GRE and TOEFL. But by God's grace, you can really, really do it. And mindset is important here. Mindset is very important. Talk to people when you're losing it. Talk to somebody to ginger you again, so you don't give up. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Dr.
Dr.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
I apologize. I had to log in again. I was actually heading to watch a movie, the LeBron James movie. But I'm in the car right now, so I can quickly. I want to pass this last message to you guys. Again, like I said earlier on, the PhD program is a very, very great option, especially for you guys as pharmacists. And there are huge opportunity out there, especially with the advent, with this COVID thing. There are billions of dollars that the US government is pumping into research. And that's I tell a lot of people that I've talked to, especially in the sciences, the STEM world, go for it. look out, do your research. There are so many opportunities in the biomedical, biological, biotechnology. Again, the reason why I'm saying this is some of our mentees, some of our applicants, they sometimes confuse, especially like as a pharmacist, they're looking for a PhD in pharmacology or PhD or as a pharmacist. Sometimes you might not get that. Even to get that will be difficult as an international student. But guess what? There are so many opportunities out there in the biomedical world, in the molecular world, which at the same time, you'll probably be doing most of what you have done in your undergrad as a pharmacist. And it will be a greater step, a stepping stone for you to activate and achieve what you want to be as a pharmacist. Again, that's where the funding is. There is no graduate or research program that will give you funding for an MSc program. Why? Because it's just a 2-year program. Like Victor said, there is nothing free in America. This money they are giving to you as research or scholarship, you got to work for it. They are looking for people to work for it, and the opportunities out there. Some of our facilitators have said there are so much huge opportunities out there, and like they mentioned, some of them have 3, 4 offers. So don't be scared about the school, about the opportunity. There are so many of them out there, and please go for it and get it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Dr. Akombi. Thank you once again. So right now, I would call on Aminat Lawal, the chairperson of the Education and Training Committee of PSN-YPG Lagos. Aminat.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Aminat. Good evening.
So I want to say a big thank you to all the speakers and to everyone that made this day a success. Yes, Taiwo, my amiable moderator, my committee members, and everyone that joined the webinar. Yeah, and also to remind you that ISI is a charitable organization. They help to sponsor and mentor, applicants for grad school applications. Although I think the application for this year has closed. It opens next year, January 2022. Yeah. Okay. So if you would love to be sponsored, you can, give it a shot, and hopefully, it works out. It's a very competitive process, anyways. Yeah. And I think that is most of it. Then please kindly remember to give us your feedbacks so as to help serve you better. Once again, thank you very much, everyone, for joining this webinar. Yeah, bye.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Afeez. Thank you, Fahidat. Thank you, Haniel. And thank you to iScholar Initiative. We're so grateful. How do we get to talk to ISI if we do want to find that?
Okay, I'm going to type our email in the chat box now.
All right.
So you can reach us to us via email or Twitter DM. And you can follow our page. We actually share a lot of content that's going to be very, very useful for anyone interested in grad school. Tomorrow we have a session, a panelist session, though it's the topic is navigating your first year in grad school. So you could also join that session tomorrow. Everything that we do in ISI is free. Make sure you download the book. The book is a very, very valuable resource for anyone interested in grad school. So that's our email. So you can reach out to us there, send us a Twitter DM. I don't think you can send DM on LinkedIn, I'm not sure. So those are the ways.
All right. Thank you so much, Fahidat. The email is info@ischolarinitiative.org. If you want to replay this session or you want to share it with someone, you can go to the PSN-YPG Lagos official YouTube page. We'll have both the session from yesterday and today. To everyone who has attended, thank you so much. Have a lovely evening and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you.